Ladies and gentlemen, you may already have come into close contact with Albania early this morning. Did you know that? The spoon that you used to stir your coffee or tea most likely contained chromium from Albania. Albania is the second largest or third largest chromium producer within Europe and the sixth largest chromium producer in the world, however heavily challenged by effects of the pandemic. We are going to hear more about that today. We are very glad to be guests of Albania today, unfortunately only virtual guests, with this ESEE Dialogue Conference. The ESEE Dialogue Conferences are initiated by the EIT RawMaterials Regional Center here in Leoben in Austria and aim to foster an international community in the raw materials sector by bringing together relevant experts from the industry, from the academia, and from the research institutions in Eastern and Southeastern Europe. So far, we have organized conferences in Austria, in Croatia, in Hungary, Macedonia, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Montenegro. My name is Hanno Bertignoll. I'm project manager with the EIT RawMaterials Regional Center in Leoben, and I, together with the team here, warmly welcome you to this conference, where we will focus on getting to know the Albanian raw materials community better. However, before we start, let me give you some housekeeping information. The whole conference is taking part on this WebEx platform. Your microphones are automatically muted and your camera is turned off to reduce data traffic. But we ask you to ask questions. Please ask as much as you want to find out. To do so, you can use either the Q&A session, the Q&A button on the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx window, or you raise your hand. How to do this? You can use the symbol that appears when you click on the smiley button. That is called reactions, and you will find a hand, and that will give us notice that you would like to raise some questions, and then your microphone will be activated and you can tell. One of my colleagues will collect all your questions and make sure nothing gets forgotten. Additionally, we are going to ask your participation by answering a few questions in a tool called Mentimeter in about 45 minutes. This you can join via your computer or your phone, whatever is more convenient. There will be a lunch break between 12 and 1 o'clock, and we have planned to finish the conference with a panel discussion and a Q&A session that should end around 3 o'clock this afternoon. But without taking up too much time of this conference, I would now give the floor over to Professor Peter Moser to get us going on behalf of the organizers. Peter Moser is the head of the Department of Mineral Resources and Petroleum Engineering here in Leoben, and he holds the chair of Mining Engineering and Mineral Economics. Also, he is vice rector of our university, responsible for international affairs and university infrastructure. Peter, please.
Thank you, Hanno. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. A warm welcome from my side, from Montana University at Leoben, to you as participants of the 13th ESEE Dialogue Conference. 13 conferences since 2014 dedicated to networking, dedicating to identifying opportunities, dedicated to understanding challenges in the area of raw materials. An ESEE Dialogue Conference is not a classical conference. An ESEE Dialogue Conference is, or we see the ESEE Dialogue Conference as the starting point of a communication process to which we invite you warmly and to see this as the beginning of a journey in the field of raw materials, and that's what the ESEE Dialogue Forum and the ESEE Dialogue Conferences are about, raw materials. And as Hanno has nicely pointed out today, this might be used as a simple chromium from Albania, a nice and important source of chromium, of raw materials here in Europe, and hopefully this ESEE Dialogue Conference and the follow-up communication amongst stakeholders and partners is able to contribute to a more sustainable supply of raw materials, of primary raw materials and secondary raw materials in Europe. When we started these ESEE Dialogue Conferences back in 2014, and also when we were planning and discussing the format of these conferences, the mineral potential and the resource potential of East and Southeast Europe always was in the focus of these meetings. And I'm quite happy and proud to be able to say that since 2014 we have identified quite a number of important projects in the area of primary and secondary materials that are now part of a development process that have been integrated into projects as part of the EIT RawMaterials family networking society in Europe. A special thank not only goes to you that you take the time and you participate and try to connect to us on the long run in the field of raw materials. A special thanks also goes to EIT RawMaterials in Berlin, our headquarters, and so to say forms is not just the starting point of this communication dialogues, it's also the umbrella and one of the financing partners apart from Montanuniversität Leoben and the Austrian government here. To make these dialogue conferences, to make these meetings a success, we have to be aware that it needs an open dialogue and intensive communication around the fields of raw materials. To take something home after this conference, and as I already said before, it's not just a conference of a few hours, it's not just a meeting of a few hours. I really like to invite you to participate, to continue a dialogue with us on raw materials and the challenges in that respect on your side, and we will try to do our best to introduce you to the opportunities of these ESEE Dialogue Conferences, of the EIT RawMaterials, and of the many industrial, scientific and university partners working in this network. Now, taking the program of today, beginning a special thanks to the organizing team here also in Leoben. I think they made a very good job in putting together a very attractive program. This program is covered by presentations from our side, prominent presentations. I'm quite happy and thankful to the presentations from the Albanian side. And also, as you see from the program, we try to do our best to show you a couple of real cases of things that have happened in the past, and from that you should take, so to say, get a bit of an idea how this dialogue starts, how it works, how the networking is done, and what are the subsequent opportunities for that in the future. Yeah, I think you have a big program, a challenging program, an energy-intensive program. I wish you a lot of fruitful listenings, communications, discussions, and I'm looking forward to see the outcome of this dialogue conference of today, and especially then the outcomes in the future. Last but not least, I have to mention that already quite a time ago, I had several opportunities, I think around 15 to 20 times I have been to Albania, working together with Albanian Chrome on the further development of the chromium mines. I have been very much impressed about the mining activities in Albania, realizing there is an important place for the sustainable supply of raw materials in the future. So enjoy this conference, and wishing you a fruitful and interesting and efficient day. Thank you very much.
Change over to the next speaker, Mr. Krzysztof Kubacki. He is the Eastern Innovation Hub Director from EIT RawMaterials. And he has a long background in exploration and business development with a Polish company, KGHM, a large silver and copper producer in Poland. He was previously their Vice President of Exploration and Business Development. Krzysztof, thank you very much for being here today, and the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Hanno. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you perfectly. We don't see your video camera, but we see the presentation of yours.
Yeah, that's probably better that you can at least see my presentation. I have some issues with my camera, so I will just try to walk you through the presentation this way.
That's perfectly fine.
Thank you very much for inviting me also to speak at the 13th ESEE Dialogue Conference today, and I will briefly present EIT RawMaterials and what we do as our main activities, and also what are the opportunities for our stakeholders in Albania. EIT RawMaterials is one of the knowledge and innovation communities that has been set up as a partnership, but is funded through EIT, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, based in Budapest. EIT supports several different knowledge and innovation communities across the key societal challenges of the European Union. And so there are 8 of such knowledge and innovation communities active today, and EIT RawMaterials is one of those 8 and has been established in the year 2014 and started working in 2015. What does it mean, this knowledge and innovation community, and what is our strategic objective? First of all, the meaning of the knowledge and innovation community, it means that we are working in the so-called knowledge triangle, where we try to work with industry, specifically in the industry from the raw materials sector, also with research institutes and leading universities that are active in this sector and are helping us achieve our vision of developing raw materials into a major strength for Europe. And in order to achieve this vision, we focus on 3 key strategic objectives. First of all, we focus on securing the raw materials supply. Then we are also focusing on designing solutions for materials innovation, products and processes. And last but not least, we are aiming to close the material loops, meaning that we want to shift from linear to circular economy in the raw materials sector. So the raw materials sector, for us, it's mainly the metallic and mineral raw materials, and we look at the full value chain of this sector. We start with exploration and resource assessment. Then we look at the mining part of the value chain, and processing and metallurgy for increased resource efficiency. And then we close the loop further downstream through recycling, substitution of critical and toxic raw materials, and designing products and services for the circular economy. In our activities as EIT RawMaterials, we mainly focus on 3 key areas. First of all, we organize matchmaking and networking, and we have several platforms, both virtual platforms, but also physical platforms to organize this matchmaking and networking. So we, on the one hand, allow our partners and other participants to get access to our so-called info center. And then we offer a number of events. One of those events is our 13th ESEE Dialogue Conference that is being organized today. But we also have our flagship event, which is the RawMaterials Summit. We will organize it in May of next year in Berlin, and hopefully that will be a physical meeting this time. And we also organize a number of different expert fora, brokerage events, and very detailed thematic events to allow the raw materials professionals from the three sides of the knowledge triangle to come together and discuss items that are important for the sector. Then secondly, our second line of activities is innovation and acceleration. And here we use the funding that we receive from the EIT to support upscaling projects. These are innovation projects which look at the full value chain of raw materials, which are led mainly by our partner organizations, and they are at advanced innovation level with a view to bringing them to the market in, either during the project duration or shortly after the project is finished. So we do not focus on early stage research or innovation. We focus on more advanced stage innovation that can be commercialized in a relatively fast pace. And also we support startups, idea holders, and small and medium-sized enterprises. We have different programs for these groups. We have the early stage Jumpstarter competition. We have our own accelerator program, and we also have booster funding to support new companies that are active in the raw materials sector, so they can be established, they can start, and they can grow their business to contribute to the development of our sector in Europe and even beyond. And then our third key activity is education programs. And here, as all the knowledge and innovation communities, we support modern education, both at the level of university, so here specifically master and PhD programs, but we also support education for professionals and the wider society in order to educate the next generation of professionals that can work in the raw materials sector and can work with the innovation solutions that we also support. But also we are trying to educate the broader public about the importance of the raw materials sector. And EIT RawMaterials, last but not least, is also in charge of coordinating the European Raw Materials Alliance, which has been launched by the European Commission in September of last year. So here we have the mandate from the European Commission to organize this alliance in the raw materials sector to support the investments in the sector to supply critical and other raw materials for the European economy, and also organize a stakeholder consultation process that helps overcome the challenges, especially on the financial, legal, and regulatory side of the raw materials sector. The European Commission has announced its 10-point action plan on critical raw materials in September of last year, and number one point on this action plan was the creation of the European Raw Materials Alliance, which we have the mandate to coordinate. I hope that Albania will become active or more active in our EIT raw materials activities. We do have some partners from Albania which are active in some of our projects, and I would certainly hope that we can create more activity and more opportunities for the Albanian stakeholders. And also I would really hope to see some possibilities for engagement into the European Raw Materials Alliance from Albania, including supporting investment projects. Thank you very much.
I would propose to go to the next point in the agenda, which is that we are going to ask you. We ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself. We ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself by taking your smartphones or your computer and go to the website that is indicated on your screen, www.menti.com, and use the code 30115305 to access a short survey that will give us insight into who is participating in the conference, who is taking part, and where do you come from. You have learned a little bit about our motivation, why we are doing this conference, and now we would like to ask you, why do you participate? There will be 5 questions, so do not get nervous. It's not going to be very sophisticated, very simple questions. And I will switch now to question number 1, which is, what do you want to get out of this conference? Why are you here? What do you expect from today's conference? And I will allow a short time to submit your answers. The code is still on top of the screen, so should I have been too quick, you can read it on the top. First answers are coming in. You have to simply go to menti.com and use the code 30115305 to access this particular survey, should you not have done it so far. And I do want to stress out that these questions are helping us in organizing events like this, because this is what you expect us to do. Thank you very much for these answers. We have got 6 answers so far, still coming in. I would like to change now to the next question, which is a little bit more simple. Where do you come from?
Participants.
Sorry, this looks like a bit of a territorial competition between Austria and Albania, which is a little bit one-sided. I would need a bit more input, please. Next question. Next question is, what is your background? Is it business? Is it education? Or are you from a research institute? There is 10 answers so far. For those people who have not connected yet, please go to www.menti.com and in that platform use the code 3011-5305 and you will also be able to see what answers we have been getting, and you can contribute your answers to our questions also. So far there is from this question, it's where do you come from, what is your background, 20% from research, 40% from business and 40% education. Let's go to the next question, which is what is your job title, what is your job? And this requires a little bit more time because we need to punch in our profession. Thank you very much for these answers so far. Let's go to the next question. 3 points that describe your relation to raw materials, your connection to the raw materials community. Ah. Answers so far are education, research, even Austrian is a motivation to have connections to the raw materials community, student education, cooperating with company, processing. 20 answers so far, which is really helpful. Thank you very much. Still answers coming in. So we see quite a wide field of activities. I will go now to the next question. How would you describe the raw materials sector in your country? And by doing this answer, mention your country also so that we can have a connection. Example, Austria, small mining country. Albania, large potential of, I don't know. It will be your answers, please. There is really very interesting answers to this question, like that Albania seems to have a huge potential being blessed with raw materials, with a variety of raw materials, really. And one comment says large but need to be developed. In other words, describing the potential to further development in Albania. And this is one of the reasons why this conference is focused on the country of Albania, where we would like to exchange experience, exchange knowledge, exchange opinions on what are the potentials, what are the possibilities, what are the possibilities that we can contribute to develop, maybe. Thank you very much for your answers, and this concludes the Mentimeter questions and answers. And I would now proceed with the program and come to back to Austria to Susanne Feiel. She is the head of the Resource Innovation Center here at Montana Universität Leoben, and also the head of the international department of our own university. And she's very active in a number of stakeholder groups, including the European Innovation Partnership for Raw Materials or the Institutional Panel for Sustainable Development. Susanne's message has been pre-recorded because she is not available today. So we will hear her input from a video sequence that has been recorded. Please.
Also from me to a warm welcome also from me to the 13th ESEE Dialogue Conference, this time with a focus on Albania. The ESEE Dialogue Conference is a conference series that has proven to be a very useful tool and a pool for establishing new contacts, partnerships, and activities to develop raw materials into a major strength for Europe and to support the green transformation of the continent. We do this through projects in technological innovation, new educational programs, or through creating entrepreneurship environments. All of these three aspects are very important as they unite experts and stakeholders from industry, research, and education, the thing we call the knowledge triangle. We believe that only through the integration of these the three sides of this triangle, we can actually achieve efficient and systemic growth towards sustainability and security in raw materials. My name is Susanne Feiel. I'm head of the Resources Innovation Center of the University of Leoben, which is home to the EIT RawMaterials Regional Center. where we try to leverage and facilitate the mentioned activities on a regional scale in Austria. We do this through networking and matchmaking of various stakeholders, of initiating and managing projects in relevant fields, creating and carrying out educational programs, and also diving into the pool of entrepreneurship and creating new mindsets in this area. We are very active in this regard, and we have a very vivid track record already established over the past few years. And although this is all very important, and the Austrian landscape is very important, we have also, from the beginning on, put our focus into the ESEE region. ESEE standing, as you've now heard many times, East and Southeast Europe, more concretely the Balkans and the Visegrad countries. But why, you may ask, is the ESEE region such an important region for us, and why do we focus our activities in this region? Well, you can see from what's behind me that East and Southeast Europe is important for Austria because it's historically, economically, and culturally very, very closely connected to Austria and to the Austrian culture and to the Austrian system. Over 500,000 Austrians have roots in the region, and Austria is also one of the largest investors in that region to create jobs and leverage and push also economical development. The primary goal of this Austrian foreign policy is to support the development of the region and to support stability and democracy in the region. And it is believed that the only way, or the best way, not the only way of course, but the best way to achieve this is through the integration of the region into the European integration process. And with the activities that we do and the activities of the EIT and the EIT RawMaterials, and by combining this with the ESEE region, we are actually doing exactly that. We are integrating the region into the European integration process. But who are we anyways? I've just briefly mentioned this. I said that we are now here at the 13th ESEE Dialogue Conference, but who are we and why or how come we do this? So the Resources Innovation Center is part of the Montan-Universität Leoben, or the University of Leoben. And the university and Leoben are situated here in the center of Austria, in the heart of Austria. It's really nice. You can reach 9 countries within 2 hours from here. Our students really appreciate this. And we are a 180-year-old technical university with 15 departments and institutes, which subdivides into 44 chairs, so 44 different areas of expertise, with 1,300 employees, 4,000 students that participate in 12 bachelor's, 19 master's, and 1 PhD program curriculum. We have various international joint degree programs which unite in the 19 master's programs. We are currently undergoing a strategic process at the university where we establish new bachelor programs, which means that we are going to have English two new English bachelor programs from 2023 on, and that means that now international students can go from day one until their doctoral degree here at this university if they want to. Furthermore, we have 17 postgraduate programs that we design in collaboration with the industry according to industrial needs and skills shortages. And of course, we teach in English and in German language. Some programs are in English, mainly master's programs. But if need be, we are very flexible also, and many of our teachers and lecturers have already switched their German lectures into English if the need was there in a particular situation for international students. We're top ranked in Austria, in the EU, and also in specific subject rankings on an international level. Now, our university is quite small for a university. There's much bigger universities than ours. However, we have a budget of 95 million per year, and half of that we procure through industry collaboration. So already here, the knowledge triangle comes in very well and is very obvious. It's not very usual for Austrian universities to have that much income from industrial and third-party cooperation. I'm not sure how this is in other countries. We have, we are organized in a very normal way. We have 3 members of the rectorate, we have 30 members of the Senate, we have 5 members in the supervisory board, just like in any other company. The town that we're situated in is very nice and small. It's 25,000 people. You have all the amenities of the city, but you have sort of a country feeling, which international students appreciate very much because they find their way around very well. But how does this now connect to our activities in the EIT RawMaterials and in our activities in the ESEE region in terms of raw materials? Now, as you can see here, with this cycle of materials, the natural flow of a material from when it's extracted until it's used and recycled. All of our study programs and all of our research at the university is centered around this cycle. So we have programs that focus on exploration. We have programs that focus on mining and on processing and on materials design, and we don't do manufacturing. We skip that part, but we focus on the logistics of how do we distribute all of that. And then we go back into the end of life of a product, into recycling and waste management. Now we also we come from the production perspective, so we don't focus on using the product from a consumer perspective. But what we do is we also focus on industrial, environmental technologies, so that we know that the processes and the systems that we establish in production processes are sustainable. Energy technology to establish accordingly sustainable energy systems for the industry, and also data science. Data, as you know, is the new gold for making anything more efficient these days. So this is why I would say we are we have very relevant expertise for what we do in our activities, and we bring in a lot of knowledge. Now, in December 2020, we launched a new development plan, and this new development plan is very future-oriented, and it supports all the green policies of the European Union, and also, implementing the Sustainable Development Goals, climate change. It all goes into this one direction, and we have identified within all the fields of expertise that we have 3 major areas that we want to operate in, and that's advanced resources, smart materials, and sustainable processing to achieve energy efficiency, climate neutrality, sustainability, zero waste, and circular design. And all of that within this flow of raw materials. And here you have a few impressions, more of our university. Now, how does the regional center, the Resources Innovation Center, fit into that? What do we do? Now, we are not a conventional chair here at this university. We are an organizational unit that is sort of the neutral platform within the university to develop these topics in research and education, to develop raw material flows towards sustainability. And we do this, like I said before, through matchmaking and networking. So we go out and we look for opportunities for people or chairs inside the university. So we bring home opportunities. We make sure that the chairs and the departments start networking amongst each other within projects. As you know, everything on the policy level is going towards more systemic and integrated research, because the challenges that we're tackling are much bigger, so we cannot stay in our silos anymore. And this is what we're trying to push, connecting the inside with the outside of the university and creating opportunities. And we do this in education, and we've also started doing this in sustainable development and climate action, within which we were able, but I'll get to that in a little bit, to leverage a European university on responsible consumption and production. Now, who are we in terms of people? You can see here that we are faces. We're not only topics, but we're a lot of dedicated, multilingual, multi-skilled, and very enthusiastic people with roots in Austria, Ireland, Italy, Spain, Russia, Romania, Egypt, Hungary, and Bosnia. So you also see we bring in a lot of perspectives, cultural perspectives on how to tackle things and what is important. With regards now to our ESEE vision, the ESEE region was also by the EIT defined as a region of importance because according to this European Innovation Scoreboard, there's moderate innovation capacity in the country. However, the region proves to be very important in terms of its geological and secondary raw materials potential. There is a lot of human resources potential in the region. And we want to leverage both of that, and we want to contribute to the development of that, because integrating all of this to become a bigger community, that's our dream. And I think with the ESEE region, we have a very, very good partner. How do we do this specifically? So what have we done that we can show? We have been doing, as I've elaborated on extensively, community building through the ESEE Dialogue Conference Series, 13th edition here right now. This has always led to new partnerships, new activities, and that these activities are upscaling projects. This means that we develop a technology towards the market, and then after this is done, we try to bring it into the market. And these technologies are raw materials, relevant technologies that contribute to a sustainable development of the raw materials sector. We've done risk projects. Risk projects are projects specifically focusing on the risk region. Unfortunately, Albania is not part of the risk scheme, but that does not mean that the other types of projects that we do within the EIT RawMaterials cannot be started. We have had educational impact through various education projects that we have participated in, initiated, managed, led, contributed to. So different kinds of participation levels. You will hear a little bit more about education projects later, which is why I'm not even going to go into it. We have done community events and also other scientific cooperation and projects outside EIT. And a very important point are also student and staff mobilities, because these enable us to connect the institutions, to live the partnerships in reality. Especially in times of COVID, I think we all know how important it is to really meet in person and to really live the partnerships, live the contents, live the projects, because that has an impact in the future. You're also going to hear about student and staff mobilities a little later and the opportunities that there are for starting activities. Now, a little overview to the community building, because we just think it's such an important topic. Here you have the overview of all the ESEE Dialogue Conferences we've had so far. They're not in chronological order, but more in an order of location. With the according years to that, you see we've been around. We have started this format trying to bring in all the ESEE partners into Austria and network with them, but then after a while we changed the format because we thought it was much nicer and more efficient to actually go into the region and focus on specific areas, which is also why this conference now focuses on Albania. Our impact has been multiplied. We have numerous connections into the region, hundreds of connections, very, very many activities, and this has led to the fact that now you can also read about this as an EIT RawMaterials success story. A little bit before, I mentioned human capacity and human potential of the region, because human potential and human capacity is what carries all the strategies, all the goals, all the visions that we have, because without this potential, we can't develop anything. And no matter how good the topics, if we don't have this backbone, nothing will happen. So we started also to focus on the topic of brain drain in the ESEE region, because it is a very, very important structural challenge of the region. And the brain drain proportion is worldwide, it's one of the biggest brain drain proportions there is. And this topic really needs to be addressed and also worked on, because otherwise we can have very many ideas, but none of them will ever become a reality. In terms of track record, we've had, as of the end of 2020, we've had 42 ongoing projects, and 60% of these projects were with ESEE partners from the region. And in the next slide, you can see now it's 30 active projects, but the 42 projects as of the end of 2020 have generated an income into Austria. This is not the income for our university, but for all the Austrian stakeholders together, all the partners that have ever participated in our projects, of 15.2 million euros and 9.7 million euros that have gone to ESEE partners in the region. So you see, we're moving something and things are happening, and I would like to really invite you to use this conference to participate in moving things and becoming part of this community. Now, what I would just like to briefly mention, which is also a very great opportunity in terms of activities, and also an opportunity for the EIT RawMaterials, where we work together, is the European University on Responsible Consumption and Production that we've managed to leverage, that we've managed to create as a lead through the narrative and the activities that we have been implementing over the past few years with the EIT RawMaterials and this discourse we've developed. And the European University on Responsible Consumption and Production is specifically a university of 7 partners throughout Europe. The University of Leon, the University of Mittweida, the Technical University of Crete, the Technical University of Freiberg, the Silesian University of Technology, and the University of Petroșani, plus Montana University, who want to be a core hub of interdisciplinary research and innovation. We want to become the leader of interdisciplinary research and innovation in responsible consumption and production with regards to sustainable material flows also in terms of when the consumer has the materials. And we, like I've explained before, will contribute to this scheme with our expertise on the production side. You see here we have 7 institutions with over 54,000 students and almost 10,000 staff members, and different types of expertise that they contribute into this construct. It's not only a project as a usual project, but it works on a structural level to change all the universities also in their structures, to align them and to be one institution at some point in the future. So it's not only a project, it's really a vision for the future in 20 years and where we stand then. Many associated partners support us because they see that a lot of opportunities are being leveraged in this university that focuses on Sustainable Development Goal 12, obviously. And synergies are starting to happened with the EIT and the EIT RawMaterials, and the direction and what's going on at the moment is it's astonishing and it's breathtaking, and I invite you to inquire about it and maybe also become a part of it. This brings me to the end of my very short overview on what we're doing. Please, I invite you to connect with us if you are interested and if you have something to offer. Connect with us on resources and raw materials innovations, education, climate action, sustainable development, internationalization, but most of all, becoming partners and changing the future in our sector. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best and a lot of interesting moments for the rest of this conference. Goodbye.
I would like to now go to our next speaker and invite Mrs. Albana Laknor, the General Secretary of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Tirana, to talk to us about their activities in the interests of the local and the central entrepreneurship authority connections. Ms. Laknor.
Hello, everybody. Do you hear me?
Thank you very much. We can hear you perfectly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nikita. Thank you, Professor Leuben, for inviting us as the private sector in this wonderful activity. I have one more reason to participate here because I'm a geologist too. I used to be graduated in 1993. It is good to hear that mining industry is starting to be one of the main sectors of Albania. I was glad to hear your introductions and the presentations before. What I have to say is a few words about the priorities that we had in the mining industry actually. First, we need to create an good climate for investments, foreign and Albanians in mineral sector, good governance. We have to diminish the regulatory legislation. We have to increase the effectivity against the corruption in administration. We have to enforce the technical capacity for infrastructure in mineral institutions. What we have to do as a business sector or even as the government institution is to promote the activity of research and development, to add the new mineral reserves, to encourage the private investment oriented and alternatives based on diversity of mineral properties that we have in Albania. The deep elaboration of mineral products physically, metallurgically, chemically, biologically, and to take all the elements as Sieberer, I don't know the exact name of aggregate, I think it is, of the mines, to increase the employment in Albania. A good work in guarantee of efficacy structure in the mineral enterprises to prepare for transformation and restructuring the capital to protect it from fictive competitiveness, able to realize a rational exploitation of mineral funds. We have to promote and to support the business who apply for new technology for automatization, optimization of processes, to have possibility to be able for the exploitation of mineral bodies who are in the deep of the ground, and who have the low exploitive mineral. Against the request in direction of use of the ground and to have the possibility to take the mineral rights about the costs who are increasingly. We have to work that mineral activity has minimum influences in the environment based on the new environment concepts. We have to make a good planification minerally with the new planning territory concepts. This is competition with the regional effectivity, and to realize that the exploitation of this territory have to be very friendly in the mineral activity. Another thing that I have to add is that we have to promote the new experts, new engineers, mineral engineers in qualification, early qualification of this existence. And another thing is the increase the transparency in the activity that is made. And the last thing that I have to say is we have to increase and to develop more the partnership, real public-private, in the concept of win-win situation, in order to be effective and to be in good competitivity in the Balkan region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Laknor. Then I would propose to go a little bit further south and a little bit further east to Athens, to Greece, where Antonis Politis is based. He's also working with EIT RawMaterials, and he's a startup coach, innovation broker, and ecosystem builder within EIT RawMaterials as a business development manager. Antonis, the floor is yours, please.
Okay, thank you, Hanno. Thanks very much. Yeah, I hope you can see me. You know, these days is the normal that always we end up with problems around
Not
connection.
can hear you and see you very well. Thank you.
Okay, super. So I will share my screen and begin my presentation. Okay, hopefully you get to see the right one. Yeah, just give me a minute. Okay. Yeah, so Hanno, first of all, and the rest of the team from the Leoben team, thank you very much for inviting us and for organizing and setting up all this event. For connecting with the guys from Albania, the community from Albania. I see it already, even though that we had witnessed these difficulties, which, as stated, is the new normal. I see a vivid community on the raw material sector, and I think it's a good starting point and leaves a lot of prospects on collaboration at all levels. So from my side, I would touch a bit from where Krzysztof, our general director, left it. So you saw the whole picture of what the EIT RawMaterials can offer, and I will restrict only to the part that he mentioned on the acceleration pillar, and specifically on what we have as offerings to the startup and SMEs. And this, of course, you can relate and you can apply it to the local ecosystem potentially that you have or that we can jointly develop. So in order to state this, I will give you a small, let's say, journey on what is the startup journey, if I can put it this way, in the eyes, I would say, of the VC, so from the venture capital investor's eyes. So a startup is beginning from this 0 point where it says that, they want to give it a try and go out and test their waters. Where they go through this valley of death. Basically, the valley of death at the beginning is, when you start with something as a startup, at the beginning you have nothing, only an idea and only an indication of where you want to steer it. And at the same time, you don't have money. So this is why it's called valley of death, because you don't have anything tangible aside excitement and a team to work with. And I will explain here how this thing is covered up. And as the startup begins to grow, it goes on different, let's say, phases in different funding rounds as well. So you see here small seed capital funds, and later on, as it progresses both the business side, the technical sides, among other items, and it goes, let's say, in scale up later stages, and then prospectively it goes into an IPO, which is basically the stock market and a real scale-up industry. So why to present this? Because I'm going to connect this type of, let's say, regular journey of startup with our offerings. And before that, because here it is a given that someone wants to establish a startup, we have as well offerings in order to cultivate and create this entrepreneurship mindset where it is not existent. I'm from Greece, and this is something that we, I would say, in the last years, it hasn't been that vivid, but now there are a lot of things happening in order to cultivate this entrepreneurship mindset. And hopefully this is something that we can work with together with our programs in Albania. So this is where we come in, with our programs, and you will see on the left side. So cultivating, creating this entrepreneurship mindset. We have a lot of collaboration, a lot of networks, and a lot of local people that we work with, either in the form of the hubs, or either in the form of local incubators in sometimes, or either in the form even of our Raw Materials Academy with dedicated programs that support on the educational side the entrepreneurship mindset. We try and we have programs to cultivate and let's say initiate this discussion and lead people in entrepreneurship and business mindsets. Once this is cultivated, let's say someone is more interested in being part of this small, let's say, journey, the first program that we have that connects the two worlds, someone that comes from a prospect idea holder and entering into the real business startup world, we have this program that we call it the EIT Jumpstarter. And this is a program which is about idea holders and teams that basically still they're in the early stage development. They want to test out the waters, if I can put it out this way, and they want to learn a bit more on the business side and see where this takes them. There are different things that we do. It's a 9-month program. I have provided some extra slides on getting more information on this regard. It's a 9-month program that we offer here, and especially we focus on the coaching, personal coaching and mentoring activities in local or pan-European level, connecting with other idea holders as well. And this is at the end of this journey, most likely you will have much more crisp idea if this startup journey is for you or not. So when you have answered this, then we enter into our more, let's say, structured programs for startups. Now we're talking more about established startups, so incorporated companies, and we have two offerings. One is the accelerator program, which is a 3-phase program, and you see here the phase 1 where it comes in, so on the early stages of the startup. And the other one is a startup, an SME called Booster. And this one is a small seed fund, as it called, so a small investment fund, if I can put it this way, that support the startups on the different phases. So it doesn't go only on the early phases, but it can go even later on in order to boost or test out something within their company. It might be on the booster side, it might be something to test or develop on the technological side, or it might be on the market side, or it might be even creating new vertical or new product or new service, no matter how you want to call it, in order to establish SME or company. So these are the key two main offerings that we come along. And on the accelerator side, so on the early stages, we have 3 phases, as you see it here, and you see the journey that goes along with the journey of the startup. What does it mean? In phase 1, usually we give some, let's say, support in the startups in 3 months that they test out the product against the market. So they make this product market fit. What they develop, does anyone want to buy it? And if they make it throughout this journey, then they enter into ACP phase 2, which is about, now that someone wants to buy it, please go out and sell it. And this is what we try to do in the phase 2. It's a 6-month program. And then they make, at the end of the program, hopefully they will make 1 or more sales. And in phase 3, it is where they begin to fly, if I can put it this way, and become a real, more close to an SME and real scale up, as it is called, where the basic characteristic from the business side is that they do repetitive sales. And this is what we do within 18 months program. So taking from an early stage startup, turning them into, I would say, 7 digits, so above $1 million revenue companies, if I can put it this way. So, but it's not only these regular offerings. Well, on top of that, we have, the upscaling project that Krzysztof mentioned. So innovation collaborative projects, where we connect the startups with our ecosystem, which is quite broad for the sector across Europe, as described by Krzysztof. And then they basically make projects and along with their end users and customers, either in the pilot form or other type of format. So you can understand this is something that it's highly appreciated by the startups. The other thing now that we connect is, we connect our startups in the different opportunities where they match themselves with different investor opportunities, either in the format of venture capitalists, as it is called. So in general, investment lobbies, if I can put it this way, in the kind of private format, or more structural banking European systems like European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which is focused on the region and has a lot of, let's say, focus on our area as well. EIB, EIF, and other funding opportunities that we have direct connection from our side, and we open up the doors to our startups. And last but not least, you can see that, in the Swedish Nasdaq version, in some cases when it's not the usual practice, to be honest, in our sector of startup, but in general, the usual journey ends up in a startup being listed in the stock market. So we offer this opportunity through EIT, through the Nasdaq of Sweden, and you can see one version that was introduced earlier in the year, earlier in the years before COVID, I would say in 2019. But this is something that we do it repeatedly. And last but not least, as mentioned, the key enabler and I would say the catalyst in this process is our partners, either in the collaborator form for the startups or in the form of direct customers for them. We offered it, and this is the most highly appreciated as a feedback coming directly from the startup. So it's not about the money that you might get into. It's not about the support you might get into, but it is the direct connection and speed to direct customers. So this is pretty much from my side. I have provided as well some supporting slides on the items I mentioned, so that it is for your reference to read through it. So it's quite wordy. I will not go into it. So the jump starter that I speak for, it is for the idea holders as mentioned, so you can find some information. The accelerator program, the 3 phases that I described, so you can find here more information on what is the benefit in all aspects and what are the requirements if you wish to apply. The same for the booster call along with the site. The other program that was not mentioned is that the regional innovation that was mentioned as well from Krzysztof. We have a dedicated competition as well, where now it is active, and today basically is the deadline, and you can get some information there. This year version is open for specific countries. Albania was not included. Next year we're going full throttle, and Albania hopefully will be part of the targeted countries, and we're looking forward to welcome innovators and startups on this prize competition. And another opportunity as well, along with others, we try to create as well many parallel opportunities with our partners in the form of open innovation, if I can put it this way, and co-creation. One of which, as an example, is now open. So along with one big mining corporate, which is called Eramet, we have opened up a challenge, which you can call it a hackathon, if you wish, which is a challenge which is addressing direct challenges from Eramet company, and we connect our startups or even external startups to address these challenges. And there is a kind of a prize, monetary prize behind this, but I would say the big prize behind is that you get to prove your value as a startup to a customer, which might end up into a big contract. And last but not least, what was mentioned about the upscaling project. So some more information here. Kava 9 is open in case, and this goes not only for the startups, but this goes for the institutions that are part of this. ISO business, ISO academia. So this is something that you might explore. And post-COVID situation, it's always a vivid environment to be part of such events that we create for the startups. You can see a picture back in 2018 from the Job Starter program. It went until 2019 due to COVID. Hopefully the next version in 2022, and we're looking very much forward to see some cases from Albania as well. For Jumpstarter, the call will open up in Q1 in the first quarter of 2022, and we can keep you informed on this side. Hanno, this is it from my side, and please feel free to share this with the group, and we're very much looking forward if you need to connect with us on additional items.
Thank you very much, Antonis, for this presentation. which was a good introduction for what we are going to do in the afternoon. In the afternoon, we will have 2 presentations from companies that went through this startup acceleration program support from EIT RawMaterials. And we will also have a short feedback from what happened yesterday when a entrepreneurship workshop was conducted. So we will have 2 participants from that workshop and the workshop facilitator sharing their experience, what they have learned yesterday. Thank you again, Antonis. And as I mentioned earlier, we never give up. I would now go back to Albania again to Mr. Edmond Goskolli and give him a chance to continue his presentation on the natural resources of Albania.
Okay, let's start once again. Thank you very much. So you can see everything is okay?
We can see the presentation, we can hear you, we don't see you, but that is not so important right now. Please continue.
Okay, anyway, it's possible to continue or to add something?
No, it's possible to continue.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks again for the opportunity to present something about the mining activity in Albania. Mainly these 20 last years, because you know that mining activity in our country has been managed many years ago, before Second World War, and during the period up to 1994, where for the first time has been approved the mining law for Albania. During the second period, the mining activity has been managed mainly by the state companies. Meanwhile, starting for the 1994, all the mining activity has been managed by private companies. Well, in this point of view, for the mining activity has been focused mainly in the classic ore exploited many years ago in our country. The first one is the chromium, as you know, and everyone has some knowledge about this. The second one is the copper, and the third one is nickel in the iron, in a type of laterite saprolite, as well, and some other material, building materials and decorative stones, like better limestones and so on. It is, as you can see in this slide, the first one, or the champion, is the number of mining permit given for the chromium exploitation, and also the other mining permit for the carbonatic stones and so on. So, as you can see, all the deposit of chromium ore in our country are located in the northern northeast of Albania, mainly in the Bučica and Trofoja region. And according to the slide, you can see that this 10 years, last year, the chromium production has been increased with an average content of year 10 to 12% or average. Apart this, an important amount of investment has been carried out in different mines for the further development of exploitation of mining activity, mainly in the most important chromium mine, which is the Bučica mine. But apart this, a lot of small or medium treatment plant has been constructed. There are, which are the activity in our country, mainly in Bučica region, are roughly 10 treatment plants, which produced roughly 100,000 tons per year chromium concentrate, which has been destinated mainly for the export and partially for the ferrochromium production as well. If we talk about the copper has been managed in two main regions, in Puka and Mirdita region, with an average content of 300 up to 400,000 tons per year copper ore, associated for each companies with two beneficiation plants for the copper concentrate production, with average 50,000 tons per year. All this quantity of copper concentrate has been exported mainly in China, you know, because before I would like to stress that before we have had the smelter and the refinery in our country, but actually this branch of copper industry production has been broke, and we produced mainly concentrate. Actually, in our country are 60 mining permits in activity, which belongs to main companies, Beral, which is Turkish companies, and Tete Tunnel and Mining, which is also a Turkish company as well. And the third, or maybe the most important chromium, ore deposit in our country is iron nickel in laterite form, the nickel silicate in saprolite form. The quantity of reserve estimated in our country is roughly 300,000 million tons of ore, with an average content of 1.1 to 1.3% of nickel content. All the deposits are located in three main regions. In the east is Kocha Devoli region. In the middle is the Pogradeci and Librajdi, and the north is the Kuksi region. As the other kind of ores, even the exploitation of this ore has been quite stable, and I would like to stress that it's very important to study and to apply some other new technologies for the nickel production, like the direct nickel on the why not heap leaching and some other technologies, because actually we export ore in Kosovo and also in Northern Republic of Macedonia for nickel production. Apart this classic materials ores exploited in the past and actually in our country, an important development as also the exploitation and treatment of the decorative stone and also decorative material and limestones for the different aggregate for construction production in our country. So as you can see, the main kind of these materials are the granite, limestones, marble, travertine, and also the clay and the other gypsum and the other kind of ores, which are part of the cement production, and are let's say the main part for the supplying on these cemeteries in our country for the cement production, which is most important for the economy, but for export as well. Also, in our country is also important the production of bitumen, natural bitumen, which is the let's say an electronic kind of bitumen or electric kind of bitumen, and to use for the road construction. It is important to make some mixture with the other bitumen. Bitumen comes from the petroleum refineries and so on. The quantity of reserve estimated of this kind of ore is 500,000 tons. Also, in the past we have had mining activity in the coal exploitation, but actually no coal mines are the activity in our country, except some small open pits in different countries with a modest production less than 1,000 tons per year. In this slide, you can see, let's say, a table of different reserves of coal for different deposits, and also the other deposits in other regions. If you have any question, I decided to brief and to present my presentation as short as possible. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goskolli, for your presentation and this good overview of the Albanian mining side on the one side, resources on the other side, on the potential that the country offers and the potential that is there. And it was really very interesting for us. Thank you very much. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second part of our ESEE Dialogue Conference. In the first part, we have heard a lot about what EIT RawMaterials can offer to mining community, to a potential mining supplier, to startup companies. And we are glad now that we have two examples here today, two examples from companies that have in different stages taken part in EIT RawMaterials funding. And I would like to invite the first one, company About from Germany, but the person who is presenting is Diego Ignacio Laza Martin. As you can hear, the name is Spanish. The person itself is here in Leeuwen, I guess, and he's going to tell us about their experience with EIT RawMaterials and their business model to create data into a mining usable decision-making tools. Diego, thank you very much for joining, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Hanno. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you can hear me and also that you can see my screen.
We can hear you very well. The screen is coming, as you see. Not yet.
Can you see already my presentation?
No. Not yet. So now we can see it. Now it's here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Diego Laza Martin, mining project manager in About GmbH. First of all, I would like to thank the EIT for giving us the chance to present About at the ESEE Conference 2021. And during my presentation, during the presentation of About, I will talk about the products and services and also our experience in the EIT RawMaterials community. As you already know and as you already are familiar, one of the biggest challenges that the mining industry right now is facing is the lack of information regarding operational information that is happening at the mining place. The spirit of About, the target of About, is to tackle this lack of information, providing a digital tool that can change the pen and paper mine into a smart mine site. Thanks to this, you can be able to get your own operational data, get the insights, improve decisions, and gain the operational efficiency to improve your budget and to improve your daily business. The remote monitoring allows to track operational progress, delivering decision-making information 24/7 per week. So The main idea is to track the activities that take place in the mine, answering the most important questions of the industry. How do we perform? What activities are happening? The location of my bottlenecks and inefficiencies that are happening every day and are the daily questions for the mine manager, for example. How do we do it is basically through a reality capturing devices and analytic software that contains dashboards and KPI reportings for bringing the maximum capacity and the maximum potential to these mining operations. About Core is the basis of our dashboard and analytics system. About Core is the only solution that combines sensor data coming from different places, as for example, the IMU, inertial measurement units. So basically what the machine is doing, the soul and activities of the machine, plus the integration of images and schedules. This is our mainly innovative solution for boosting the process efficiency. What Core is based in AI, data analytics, and computer vision integration that provides the progress performance, everything in near real time in a web interface that is possible to customize according to the users and your needs and requirements. It can track the process and performance of the mobile fleet, like for example, the productivity, the organization, the machine performance, and also thanks to the integration of picture recognition, it is possible to analyze and include the working conditions and the working environment of your mining operations. In addition to that, it is possible to analyze and to define which are the bottlenecks as, for example, idle time, queuing times, or unneeded driving of your mining cycle. At the end, what it is intended in About Core is to provide an easy solution for the daily business of the mining operations, that it is possible to improve the mining operation just by having a look in the dashboard and tackle the inefficiencies through real data. But how can we capture the reality? Nowadays, the heavy machines that are involved in every process in the mine site. So each machine, or if we extrapolate to the whole mining fleet, it can reach every corner several times per day. So that means that therefore we mainly use a machinery as a medium to capture the reality with intelligent devices developed by About. About Edge is our portable capturing device, easily mounted on heavy machinery that is OEM independent and not connected to the mobile machine per se. So it's completely canvas independent, so it's not connected to the computer on the machine, and it's able to be mounted in every kind of machine. Does not matter the manufacturer, type and year, and is also possible to be used in mixed fleets. It consists in a combinations of sensors, as I mentioned before, like for example, the inertial measurement unit that is a gyroscope, GPS, but also it contains the possibility to analyze in real time what are the activities that are happening in the mine. Thanks to the artificial intelligence edge module and the algorithm on the edge that can directly detect the activities that your equipment is performing. Also, it counts with a module for transmitting this information through the Wi-Fi or via normal telecommunication system as 2G, 3G, and it also counts with a module ready for being installed that is our camera system. Our camera system consists, for example, for the mobile machinery, consists in About MView, that is our mobile camera system installed in the machines for capturing the reality and for capturing the working activities and the performance of your equipment in real life. Also about SView is a stationary camera that is neurologically installed for analyzing the logistic processes and monitoring the daily activities. But everything it consists not only of getting the information, also it is needed to process the information, to measure, to analyze, and at the end of the day, provide the best data for deciding and acting according to the facts that are happening in your mind. So about core also monitor the fleet performance and give you the reporting and the KPI according to your own needs and specifications. For that purpose, our system measure and analyze the activities such as the production progress, the fleet activities, the targeted actual and future, for example, forecasting, the production, the mass flow in near real time. Thanks to this, all this information is recorded and saved in about core that is available 24/7, and you can get your reporting and your KPIs according to the daily activity. This data, it is mainly shown in dashboard and reports that can also be triggered as notifications when something is happening according to your parameters. Continuing with the data-driven decisions, in About, we really believe that a picture said more than 1,000 words. About delivers image data based on events that we call it activities as loading, unloading, idling, that trigger these pictures, according to the time that is analyzed. So it's fully automated and can get also analyzed using our own artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to ensure immediate action upon the daily activities and problems in your operations. This visual module also is possible or gives you the possibility to have a live view to experience the ongoing activities of any machine, and also give you the view of what your operator is watching or have watched according to that event. So when your driver, for example, is saying that the road conditions are not good, you have really the proof to say, hey, it's happening here and it looks like this, please, let's try to fix it. Or for example, for the working conditions, it is also possible to analyze the environment, as for example, the picture that we have here, and analyze the blasted material that has to be loaded by the hydraulic excavator. Also, it is possible to extract more features, like for example, to detect other machines and to detect also another kind of logistical processes in your mining operations. The information provided should be easy to understand. So that's basically why About deliver also the most important KPIs for the decision-making step based on map-based information. Also, not only based information, also the timing activities in near real time for process recognition and the bottleneck localization. So you can really monitor your daily activities and have a look on what are the processes that are happening in near real time and tackle them in case that it shows some kind of inefficiencies. Or like in the other hand, enhance these really best practices that are happening in the mine to your own operation and to the whole operation. Is analyze, for example, the transport, the cycles in detail, like the loading, the unloading, the holding time, idling, queuing. Also for getting added the value activities, like the loading performance, the overall fleet activities, the overall cycle times, and the overall logistic activities. All the machinery and indicators are analyzed according to its interaction with other equipment and infrastructures. So it's not only related to what can happen if two machines meet each other, like for example, a hydraulic excavator and a truck, but also what happens at the processing plant when the truck, for example, has to unload. Or to show, for example, some traffic at the road according to the maybe queuing or unneeded driving activities. Our results are your reference. As you can see here in the map, you can see the green points are the loading activities, and the green paths, the green trajectories are the truck trajectories, and the blue ones are the loading activity, the loader ones. Also, you can see our sensors there that are installed. For the blue ones are hydraulic excavator, and the red ones are the trucks. And the green one on top, for example, is the drill rig. So all the activities that are happening in the mine are recognized and processed in near real time for giving you the performance of each one of them. But also, I would like really to thanks to the EIT for all the support provided. The the support that we got from the EIT is really important for the life of a startup. So the company was founded in 2018, and almost since the very first moment, as you can see here, we are involved in the network of the EIT. As Antonis explained before, the programs of the EIT does not only support economically the startup, but also provide high valuable coaching and networking for helping the startup to grow in different aspects of the business, like for example, the business strategy, marketing, IP, sales, and finance. Our journey in the IT raw material network started in 2019, firstly with the booster program for developing our edge module, or what we call the sensor box. And right before that, we engaged also with the accelerator program. So in 2019, we participated in the accelerator phase 1 for enhancing and growing our business. And right after the graduation of the first one, About also applied for the phase 2 that was more for building up the strategy of the company, based also in marketing and finance. The number also of customers, the revenue and employees of the company also got increased according also to the expectations that we were having through also the program, through all the help that we got. At the end of 2020, we applied and successfully assisted to the accelerator phase 3 that is more related to marketing, IP, sales, and finance. And I can say that last Monday, we were successfully graduated for this accelerator phase 3. According to all the activities that the EIT is performing and would like to do in the following years, we are looking forward for the new possibilities and the calls that the EIT raw materials will offer in the future for the startups to engage really with big companies of the industry that they have really needs of, in our case, digitalization for the mobile machinery, to start to engage also with them for some first sales and first project approaches to really booster the finance of the startups. So from About, we really enhance the startups that are present here to apply and to participate in the raw materials accelerator phase and also booster program, because it is a big help for a startup. And if you have any further questions, you would like to contact us, I will also share this presentation with you. I'm really thankful for the timing, and thank you so much for attending.
I am going to repeat the question. The question was whether the technology that you presented could be used in an underground mine also.
Yes, that's something that we are currently trying to develop and to see, because the technology per se does not influence if it is open pit and underground. What really influences is the data transmission. It is possible to know, for example, which are exactly the performance and the activities that the machine is doing underground, but it needs further development to work underground. As you already know, for example, underground, you need a special communication and location system that we are thinking about developing.
That's good to know. Thank you. The next presentation will take us underground also. The next speaker will be Andreas Oberrauner, who is the Business Development Manager of GeoConsult Mining in Europe. He is holding a master degree in mining engineering and a PhD in mineral processing here from Montana University Leoben. And I welcome Andreas and give him the floor now to talk about his experience as a startup, a very similar situation that we have heard in the last presentation. Andreas, please.
Thanks, Hanno. Thank you very much for inviting me to this ESEE conference. I hope you can see my presentation already, which I don't think so, but you'll surely hear in a second.
We see the presentation, but not in the presentation mode, and we don't see you also.
Okay, so let me put this in the presentation mode. Thanks a lot.
That's great.
And for some reason you don't see me, which is not so important. Thanks also, Diego, for this conference, and I really am looking forward to take you underground with me. When we already had some collaboration in the last months. And what I would like to present to you today is working together, coming from a GeoConsult group. And we had a focus on how to bring digitalization underground by the use of drones, and how to go to spaces and places where others cannot go. So maybe one word to Albania. Every one of you who had the pleasure to go there really surely saw the potential that's there, and I was completely fascinated last time I was traveling there and seeing all those places and this really exciting country. Okay. So who are we? GeoConsult is an independent, family-owned engineering and consulting company that's been around since the 1970s and is located in Austria and Salzburg. Please have a look at our lately released homepage at geoconsult.com, so you can also see all the other stuff that GeoConsult is offering, all the other fields and business areas. And within this family-owned company, we had the approach, we have a lot of digitalization engineers who flew around with drones, especially in the Alps, in highly specialized areas like on glaciers, and in highly alpine areas above 3,000, 4,000 meters partly. And so I asked them, can we do this underground? And they were, well, we tried this, and let's go that path, and let's see what we can do. How can we do it? So we went to EIT and applied for the booster call funding for starting up a project, doing business development together, and see where it leads us. So on the picture, you already get a short impression of what we did. So you see a flying drone in a cage in a 160-meter high raise boring shaft in a mine, and it's mapping this shaft, and it's also having a really close look at it. So how does it work? So we understand our project, our UAS underground project, as a service. So we do not want to sell drones or something, because that's already there. You know, you can go to the market and buy drones that are capable to fly underground, and you will receive a drone and maybe 2 days of induction, and then you have spent 50,000 euros, and you're responsible to fly it in a mine. Our approach is different. We want to be a service because we have those people that fly drones day in, day out, and they have the routine in their fingers, and we have the software in our systems all set up, and we can come to you and we will give you what you need. So what is it? On the one hand, we want to access areas that cannot be accessed by people, for instance. So when you use drones in a gallery like you see in this picture here, why would you do that? You know, you don't need that. Okay, you don't fly in a gallery where you can physically go there and do your measurements. No, we wanted to go to places, say in big stopes, when there is a hang up, when there are volumes that cannot be measured otherwise. And that was our approach. And so we developed basically this 3D modeling hardware that consists of a near series drone that you can buy in local shops or on Amazon, or really online at the reasonably cheap price. We modified them a little bit, put the cage on, put some lighting on, and then we went underground with it. So this is the final outcome of the project. So you see a Mavic 2 Enterprise drone flying with lighting in a cage that's also adapted with lights, and some additional cameras on and mounted on it. So surely this is not the latest stage of development, but that's how far we got by now. On the other hand, we said we would like to have inspection drones to fly into areas that are risky, that when there's something happening and the drone's gone, then not a lot of money is gone. So we basically took really small drones that have a camera and the light and also a little bit of a cage, and about 180 grams, and we use those to do video reports and inspections. So in the end, what comes out is that US Underground consists of 3 major parts. These are the slightly adopted near series drones. Then we have the software packages for data processing, analysis, model creation, and all that office stuff. And the third and major part of it is that we use trained pilots. These pilots, do the work for you. They come to you. They take a local expert with them that has shown to be a really good approach. That when you have people underground that, of course, know their mine and say, we need this. Can you fly up there? Can you show us this, and so on. So on the modeling part of things, basically what we apply is photogrammetric modeling. Now, photogrammetry is something that came up in the 50s or even in the 40s, in the 1940s, and a couple of years was completely unfashioned. It was completely out of fashion because that kind of looked, why would you do this? We have our laser scanners, we have our normal survey total stations and all that. Why would you need that? Now with the cameras that you can put up on drones and are easy weight and highly have highly precise optics that everybody can afford, this came to a new life a couple of years ago. And so that's why we can use the technology now. Hang on a minute, sorry. So one of the results that we had in this project, or that was one of the first results actually, we flew in a cavern in a closed mine, in a historic mine, just to try to see what the quality was. And here, for instance, you can see a detail of an entrance to a cavern with a support system, even with chairs, and you see that you can clearly see details. You can see colors, you can see textures, you can see shapes of the walls. Then we also went to other mining areas like this one. So this is an underground stope that you cannot access, where you can only fly in and an old stockwork excavation. That's what miners call it. And you also get digital data out of it and 3D models, which comes at the low price and which is highly accurate as well. So flying around in mines is fine, yeah? But what are the services that we want to provide? You know, I'm not sure, Hanno. Should I try to show a video, or should I go on in the presentation? From a technical point of view, what do you think?
Andreas, try to share the video, yes, because it shows it much in detail, I believe.
So the picture that you see here is this modeling drone with a spherical camera, and I think when I try to share this video here, that I already have started. Okay, this is the view from a drone. Okay, and the fine thing about it is here for instance, we work in an underground garage actually, and we try to inspect the ventilation system of it. You know, and due to this 360-degree camera system that's on the drones, you can actually stop the video at any time and have a look around. So here, of course, you see the start here. So this is my colleague. This is me doing nothing down there, and here's the pilot. And then when the drone goes off, I'm not sharing sound with you. Then you can still, you know, do the scrolling around. So now it's flying in there, in the dark tunnel. And here, for instance, you come to a wall, okay? And you know, you can stop this video at any time and have a look around where you are. So this is in the shaft, and you can do inspections of, say, of these old ladders, or of the support system of the concrete that's been applied 60 years ago, for instance. And you can also fly up the shaft, of course, you know, and go just to places where people are not allowed, or where it's hardly possible to go in there, and surely not in a safe manner. Okay, I think that gives it for now. I hope you did see this, although I understand that there might be some troubles to transmit it to Albania. So the list of services that we have established. So we can do, for instance, stope inspections and modeling. So if there are hang-ups in an open stope, if there are overbreaks, if there are there are rock falls, if we have to inspect something in detail regarding geology, structural planes, faults, whatever. We can do assistance in tunnel inspections, for instance. You know, when you have a tunnel with say ventilation shafts, we can fly in there. We can also do light and electricity measurements. So it's also possible to apply other sensors on the drones. Of course, hazard inspections, shaft or pass blockages that happen from time to time, and you can have a look from below where nobody else can go. Water ingressions. Which brings me to, for instance, also the thermal camera that's on the drone with us. So you can also see where's water coming out at a different temperature, for instance. Reconnaissance and situational awareness missions. You know, if there's a problem in a mine, you can first fly in there and have a close look. So what are the next steps that we need to do? The top item on my list is business development, customer and partner finding. So we try to find more applications to test the possibilities and the next applications that are out there. We had, for instance, the first thing that came up in the last weeks was where a tunneling project in Eastern Europe suddenly hit an old abandoned mine. And then we are called to fly in there and have a look what's going on there and how large is this? Can we do a 3D model without going in there? So we do that through EIT. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity for this networking, and also, of course, through direct marketing through the GeoConsult group. And technically, we have a lot of ideas that we can, see what the next steps are. So, of course, improvement of data analysis. Is it possible to acquire, for instance, geological information from the data? When basically when you have a video and a 3D model where you can distinguish between different geological units, you could also apply analytical data to it, plane orientation and all that, geotechnical information, support requirements, whatever. Then thermal images, as already mentioned quickly, what do they tell us? We did a project with thermal imagery, but okay, you get a good thermal image, but what is the outcome? I think there's a lot of what does it really show us? What is the information that we can get out of it? We are not there yet, and we are asking ourselves this. Then can we use or can we apply emergency and rescue missions with underground drones? We have tried this. It works really fine. I was hiding myself somewhere in a mining area, and the guys had to find me with those drones, and it really was quick, So basically, thank you very much. I have I've put up some questions as well. I mean, application of underground drones is one thing, but what is it that you need? How can we contribute to ESEE to Albania, as an engineering and consulting company? And one interesting question that came up during the last weeks for me personally was, can mines in general add to the European Green Deal? Just an open question for you. And with this, I would say, I want to say thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, Andreas, very much for your presentation, and thank you to your colleagues that actually did find you in this trial that you did. That brings me to one of the questions that came in from the participants. You talked about flying into mining tunnels that are small, that are inaccessible, but how small can they be? What is the minimum diameter, the minimum dimensions that you can use your drones in?
Okay. So we have the small drone that's about 25 centimeters in diameter, and the modeling drone has, I think, a diameter of 66 centimeters. So that's the physical dimension of the drones, and I would say anything approximately about 1 meter is a useful size where you can go in with those drones. So 1 meter tunnel or 1.5 maybe. Doesn't need to be any bigger.
But did I understand it correctly? That cage that you built around the drone actually protects the drone from hitting a tunnel wall and getting damaged by that hit?
Yes, that's correct. So you can fly basically through every opening that has the size of the drones. But to stay on course in a pipe or something, that is a little bit challenging. Although we already also flew, for instance, through some sewer pipes that only had those 80 centimeters, for instance, diameter, and that works really well.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Hanno.
More question, sorry. Did you hear that?
No, sorry, can you repeat?
What are your next steps in the cooperation with EIT Materials that you mentioned?
Are
there any steps planned?
Yes, there are some plans, Hanno. we had the discussion a couple of months ago, didn't we? So we need to sit together and define those next steps for business development. Most definitely, yeah. What makes sense? We would like to contribute, for instance, as a service provider in a project that's out there. So we are not sure we want to do the accelerator path forward, but this is still part of discussions.
I see. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thanks so much again. Now let's go back one step a little bit. We heard two examples from About and from GeoConsult where startups have passed through the Jumpstarter and the Booster program and the Accelerator program that Antonis has presented late this morning. And I would now like to introduce Doerte Pommerening. She was conducting a workshop yesterday afternoon for entrepreneurial mindset. Doerte, please tell us what happened yesterday. What was your experience with quite a number of participants that was there?
Hi, yes, hello. So you can hear me, yeah?
We can hear you.
Okay. Great, perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for having me. And in fact, two of the participants from yesterday are also going to share this short session, Ledi, Moisiu, and Johanna Ringhofer. So they will also share their experience from yesterday. So it was a fairly small group, and we had an expert leading us through some of the most basic steps of idea development, really. So I just want to link it to what we've heard earlier today. We heard from Antonis Politis before lunch about the different ways that EIT RM can help startups and entrepreneurs at different stages of development. And the Jumpstarter was mentioned by Antonis as one of the earlier support mechanisms. So in fact, this support mechanism is specifically for idea holders. What that means, if you're an idea holder, it means you don't have to have a product yet as such, or even a company. That's for the later support mechanisms. So as the trainer Hans Westerhof yesterday called it, it's the kindergarten, basically, the Jumpstarter. So that's for the very first stages. So in other words, if you have an idea and want support developing it, then the EIT RM Jumpstarter is probably the right vehicle for that. And by the way, for the participants yesterday, we developed a practice form for the application. So we could share that. The participants in the workshop were offered that if they develop the form, fill in the form, then they get feedback from Hans on it in the next couple of weeks or so. People can come forward and ask for the form, but equally, I assume from this conference, from the wider audience, if anyone is interested in seeing the form, i.e. seeing the sorts of questions that you would be required to answer in the application to the Jumpstarter, then feel free. So the feedback really is, I've sort of captured it in takeaways, so what I took away, and then I'm going to hand over to Ledi and Johanna to say what they personally took away. So I'm just going to summarize what my particular learnings were. If you're a budding entrepreneur and you have an idea, you need to start early on in the process. You need to start thinking about paying customers. So this is what you really need, paying customers at the end of the day. In order to find them, you need empathy. Just like in other areas of life, we need empathy, and also in business we need empathy. That means we need to get into the head of people, and actually I would expand that into the head and the hearts of people. So what are, and that can be people or other, B2B customers or governments or whatever. But you need to imagine what it is they want, and not just imagine. This leads on to the next step. You need to talk to people and then test it. So you have a sort of a continuous iteration process where you're developing your product and your idea further in connection, in collaboration with the potential customers. So the second really most important learning is that you need to get out of the lab, out of the building, etc. You need to talk to people, you need to talk to potential customers in order to find out how to improve their lives and to find the product that they would actually part money with, they would pay for it basically. So yeah, those are just really key lessons, and I wanted to share them in this forum, and also share this idea that you have to be not far developed yet, just have the idea when you're applying to the EIT RM Jumpstarter. So we can take questions, I guess, in the chat, but meanwhile I will also let Ledi Moisiu share her experience.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope that I hear you. When I got the invitation to participate on the Became an Entrepreneur workshop, I did the registration thinking that a trainer will appear on the class and will come on the class and show the how the startup business will take life. I thought scheme when step by step the professor or trainers will show to all us how to build up or to start up a business. But during the workshop, I faced a completely different scenario, and I'm telling that because I learned a lot of lessons. What I did learn, I learned to think globally, not just to take in consideration different factors, to change the point of view, not to focus only in one direction, but to enlarge and to have a scenario that will help us step by step to follow our idea. Doesn't mean to have a brilliant idea. It's not enough. It's not enough only if you have budget, you are able to start up business. It's not enough. You firstly, as Doerte mentioned before, you should find the customer. You should find the right customer. You should look after their demands, market demands. You should be empathy, and you should create a group of experts with technical expert, with business expert, with management, in order to follow step by step all the process. Not is a full process, but what I learned that I should take small but safety steps, piece by piece. If we or some other want to start up a project. I totally enjoyed what I learned during the workshop, and the workshop was in the most comfortable environment. I find out here the possibility to thank the Leoben University and Professor Hans for sharing his knowledge on the startup business. And I know that maybe I cannot start up my own business, but I learned one important thing: how to implement the knowledge of entrepreneur principles to my lessons, to my daily work with students. How to the university should change its philosophy. the universities and faculties should think in entrepreneurial philosophy, not just education and research, but the students during the studies near the university should take the concept, the principles of entrepreneurship. Thank you again for giving my opportunity to participate in the Become an Entrepreneur workshop. Thank you.
Johanna Ringhofer, if you're there, it'd be lovely to hear your experience as well.
Thank you.
Hello to all. Yes, I was attending this workshop yesterday, and for me, it was important to listen and get an idea of the obvious challenges young entrepreneurs are facing. Mr. Westerhoff clearly summarized what are the golden rules to have a better chance of becoming a successful entrepreneur. What is important for your idea or research result to find its place in the market and on the market. As Ms. Pommerening already pointed out, it is one basic attitude. An entrepreneur needs empathy from the very, very beginning, empathy for the needs of his customers, so that the customer can become successful with your help, with your product, with your service. And it sounds so easy, but it is not. If you want to put it in practice and to talk to people, and I guess this is a real challenge. I mean, if you are a business driver, it's okay, but if you're more technical driven, and this is more your background, probably this is not so easy to do both at the same time, to talk to the customers and also have this this know-how you want to sell actually. Well, the EIT Jump Starter is an EIT activity. That's what I learned, for all kicks. It's not just for raw materials. And there you can systematically address all these essential key questions. And you have to consider when you want to become an entrepreneur. And the next step is the EIT Accelerator. So I guess this is a very good training, and yeah, it's paid by the EIT. So just get in and look what's in for you. That's what I would say. And recommend. Well, is it okay
Yes,
for you?
Perfect. I think that really echoes what I took away as well.
Okay.
So, Hanno, I think if you want to take over again. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much, Doerte. Thank you very much, Ledi and Mrs. Ringhofer, for your input from yesterday. And I will now go forward to the next speaker, who is Manuel Ortega. He is working here in Leoben in our Resources Innovation Center, and he manages the MireBooks project, mixed reality handbooks for mining education. And he's going to share some insights into that project and his work. He's a mining engineer from León Mining University in Spain. And Manuel, the floor is yours. You can come up here and tell us your presentation.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Hanno, for the introduction. Well, as he was said, we're going to be talking about MireBooks, this project about digitalization in education. And first of all, I'd like to start talking about what the MireBooks mean. It stands for Mixed Reality Handbooks for Mining in Higher Education. We see here these two images showing the virtual reality and the augmented reality, which is puts together the mixed reality. And on the other hand, we have the mining handbooks. This side is the software that allows us to use this technology for teaching, and on the other side, we have the mining handbooks. These two parts are linked together in order to offer an enhanced learning experience. But why do we do this in the first place? First of all, for our students. Now we see the pupils and the young kids, they grow with these devices in their hands, they have the tablets, the phones, they learn how to use this. And what does it mean is that their brains are wired to work that way. I have a little experience here to share with you. It's for myself. I was in vacation just this summer, and one friend of mine was taking pictures with his photographic camera, and he wanted to show me the picture. So as he handed me the camera over, and I wanted to see bigger, I just put my fingers on the screen, and I dragged my fingers. What was the surprise? It didn't work. The camera was old enough; it didn't have a touch display. But just so you say that we don't think twice about it, our brains are wired that way because we are using it every day on our phones, right? So even stronger for the kids or the students. Another reason is about the education itself. When we grow and we go farther and deeper into education, and we arrive at universities in our case, the topic gets very complex, and even more so in mining. And what's the problem here? I'm pretty sure many of you identify this problem. In mining, we teach with some new books for our standards, which are like 20 years old, 30 years old in the best cases. So this is somehow not something the students are expecting when they arrive to the state-of-the-art education. And we want to do mining education also more appealing. Another reason are site visits. You know how difficult it is to get the permit to access a mine. When we enter the mine with a group of students, it's dangerous. The operation has to slow down, if not to stop many times. Even though we are there, many times we are not able to witness some operations because they are just too dangerous for spectators to be around or students. So with this way, we can offer a virtual visit to these sites. We will see later how. And the last reason is about industry itself. We are moving towards Industry 4.0, which is digitalization, and in the industry is being used every day more and more. But our students, our engineers, when they finish, they're not ready to use it because they have not been taught that way. So to say, they are not wired to use these tools. If you think of it, when we were in high school, we all learned how to do technical drawing, and you remember how difficult it was, how challenging it was to draw on the paper all these difficult figures with the rulers and the pen. As we get into university, we get to use some software as AutoCAD 3D, CATIA, and at the beginning it's quite difficult to use. We never saw this. It's take time consuming, we have to think how to do the things. But once we learn how to use it, we are way more effective than drawing on paper, quicker. And again, when we are wired to use these tools, we know how to do it and we are just efficient. So that's what we want to do also in this case. But how do we do it? As I said before, in mining we have some quite impressive and complex machines, as well as mining methods. Underground, there are no way that you can see them in real life even. We need some drawings to show all these things. Here we have this machine. I'm pretty sure many of you recognize it. It's a bucket wheel excavator. But for somebody who's the first time who sees this machine, it may be quite challenging to understand what the machine is about, how it moves. But what if we do so? If I show you this other variant, here we put this paper on top of the table, and with our device, tablet or phone, you name it, this machine appears on top of our desktop, and we can see right away what is it about, how it moves, how it performs operations, and we can do some discussions, some technical data about this machine. In any case, you see how it didn't take you longer than 1 second to realize what the machine is about, in contrast with the other 2D picture. As well as doing virtual visits, as we said before, this is a tool for a classroom where the lecturer will be talking and guiding the students through this operation, while they have the freedom to look around and see the operation in real size. At the same time, not being at the risk of this environment, and also we can remove the noise, so we can do better explanations and so on. Here we have one example. Too far. Yeah. This is what the students would be seeing on their virtual reality headsets. And now here it just looks like a normal video, 360 video, but imagine when you have these glasses on your face, you can look around and you see the real sizes of the things. So we are in the Erzberg mine, right next to Leoben, and we have the possibility of jumping from a 360 video into a 3D model, exploit the model, access some extra information, and when we're done with that, we just jump back to 360 video, and we continue witnessing the operation as the lecturer guides us through this scene. Here we have the opposite scenario. We are starting this machine into a 3D model, and we can click on this icon you saw before, and we jump to the operation. Now all of a sudden we are underground and see how this jumbo operates. Then now we know why we do it, but it's also important to know how do we build all this material. We film 360 videos in different mines around Europe to be able to have these 360 videos from the different operations, as well as creating some 3D models, and if not, we are also acquiring them on the internet to be able to enhance these mining books with the digital content, as we call it. At the same time, the text is also being written again, because as now the media changes, the way we explain things also change. It has to match the media with the text, so that's why it's being written again with a new didactic concept. Now, I would like to focus on something, because just as I'm using today a PowerPoint presentation, you all know how to do that. We have text, we have some pictures, some videos maybe. Everybody knows how to do that, but what happens if instead of videos, we have 360 videos, we have 3D models, and we want to see them in virtual reality? PowerPoint doesn't support this media, right? So we created the new PowerPoint, the authoring tool we call it, in which we can use 360 videos. You can see here in the main screen is the video, which would be the slide doing the similarity with PowerPoint. You have different slides in the bottom, and then you have some tools that you can add annotations, you can add some text boxes and so on to just create your presentation in virtual reality. You also can create some connections between some markers, as we call these images, and 3D models. So you would be able to distribute in the classroom these different markers. So every student could have this machine on top of their desktop, and then we can open a discussion about the machines. Not only machines, I can show you here also some models about rock mass stresses and so on. We can capture them, change the color and the transparency to see different aspects of the models. Now, this tool can also be used at home for home learning, but the authoring tool itself, as you can imagine, is something you use in the office. You prepare the lecture with this tool. But then we are at the other side where we have to present this lecture we created. And how we do this, we created a lecturing tool. This is a tool that allows us to perform this lecture as such. Showing the students this 360 video we created, the annotations, and here we have an example where we are testing the tools. The lecturer has the tablet on the hand and can activate these annotations, even draw in real time to do some explanations, because as you can imagine, the students are in virtual reality, but in this case the lecturer is not there, so you cannot point what are you talking about. But since you can draw in real time and they will see on their goggles, you can guide them quite good through this virtual environment. So we can provide tasks and have some interaction also in this system. So now we have all the system ready. That was about last year, beginning of last year, but what happened here? If you see some problem about this happening, about this image happening last year in spring, of course there's a problem happening. COVID-19 doesn't allow us to have students in the classroom, doesn't allow us to have physical lectures. So the implementation of the tool got delayed, but instead of this, we worked into an online teaching tool, which allow us to use all these tools and features while the students are not in the same room as well as the lecturer. Here we see some of these tests where we are just performing the lecture, the lecturer sitting on his office and the students being somewhere else. Now, as we saw before, we have a software here and we have a book, and it's called Mixed Reality for Mining Higher Education. But as you can imagine, this software is not linked to mining education anyhow. So that's why we can link any text or any images and use this software for any other topic. So we can transfer this tool, this learning method or teaching method to any other disciplines. Let's say chemical engineering or physics engineering, it doesn't really matter. So we are looking forward to start using this tool in different universities, and why not expand to different fields and start teaching other topics. So that was from my side. Thank you very much from your side and from your time. And if you have some questions, let me know.
Thank you very much, Manuel, for your presentation and for the work that has been done in the MireBooks project, one of the education projects supported by EIT RawMaterials. Another education project that is also supported by EIT RawMaterials and where we as a university here in Leoben and the university in Tirana are both taking part is the Dubrovnik International ESEE Mining School. And I would now like to introduce you to Ledi Moisiu. She works as a lecturer at the Faculty of Engineering of Natural Resources in the Polytechnic University of Tirana. And she's talking about her experience and her contribution to the DIM ESEE, as it is called, project. Ledi, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello again to everyone by me. Welcome to my presentations, even that you must be a little bit tired. But I know that physical meetings are more interesting than online ones. But in my opinion, still this way is better than no meeting at all. So I'm going directly to my presentation, DIM ESEE 2 project on implementing innovations. DIM ESEE 2 is a lifelong learning project focused on raising innovativeness among raw materials professionals in the ESEE region, and is based on positive results and success of previous DIM ESEE school held during 2016-2020. The project has been funded by European Institute of Innovative and Technology, EIT, through the program EIT RawMaterials. The project consortium, coordinated by University of Zagreb, Faculty of Mining, Geology and Petroleum Engineering, gave us 13 partner institutions. One of them is Polytechnic University of Tirana, presented by Faculty of Geology and Mining. Innovating in exploration is the topic of the workshop in which the project has been and will still be focused during 2021.
Sorry to interrupt. Could you make the image slightly larger by presenting mode, maybe?
Sorry.
So it's easier to see.
It's okay now?
Great, thank you very much.
Sorry for this concern. But what are the most significant challenges for raw material professionals that we face in our region? To find out the challenges, the ESEE2 consortium developed extensive questionnaires for raw materials professionals conducted during January-February 2020, as well as in analysis of current ESEE higher education system. On the end of the survey, on the top, on the challenge that stays on the top is the lack of lifelong learning courses and other forms of informal education for raw materials professionals in ESEE region, with the exception of obligatory law-regulated education for professionals related to safety, working in exclusive environment, etc. At the same time, classical higher education system suffers by outdated curriculum and offering too much theory and insufficient focus on innovative and advanced tools and methodologies. This unfortunate situation reflects in lower innovativeness rate of new graduates and alumni, followed by negative path to ESEE raw materials industry. The third challenges that are faced on the end of the questionnaire are the expensive, very expensive, lifelong learning courses in the Western Europe, often not affordable for ESEE raw materials professionals, especially for the youngest professionals. That is known that their payment is lower compared to the senior professionals, that they can't afford to follow such kind of courses. And all this challenge, DIM ESEE2 Innovative has prepared 3 workshops with models from professionals to professionals. And the target group for the participants of lifelong learning courses coming by the field of geology, geological engineering, geophysics, mining engineering, and applied earth sciences professionals. So each workshop is organized in 3 days, and during these 3 days, they will acquiring new knowledge and practical works. Another opportunity that workshop offers is the best value for money. The prices are very low compared to the other courses. Sorry.
Ledi, we lost your voice.
Okay. These innovative workshops are organized in 4 years, as the project will be. And the first innovative exploration workshop is will be in hybrid mode due to the pandemic situation and restriction of movement of persons through the region. Innovative in process-oriented ore body characterization will be held during 2022. The workshop dedicated to extraction will be organized during 2023. And the last workshop is in innovative ore purchasing. This workshop will finalize all the project. For this year, as I mentioned, for 2021, 3 days workshop will be held, led by Miss College University, the professor that will come by this university, and the topic of the first workshop is related to the main challenges and needs in innovative mineral exploration and robotization. For the topic for the second workshop is for the second day of workshop is related to remote sensing and sensor basic techniques and their application in the construction of 3D models. And the end of the workshop will focus on the topic advancing geophysical data processing and geostatistical methods and their innovative application for mineral exploration. During the first day of the workshop, the trainers by Research University will present to the attendees and participants the overview of general EU policy framework for need of innovative methods in mineral exploration, innovative solution for and the challenges in underwater spaces will be a new theme during this workshop, and the workshop will be held bringing some case studies in exploration of valid underground space and seafloor exploration. In this picture, I will show some moments by these new techniques in exploration of flooded mines. In the second day of workshop, the main topics is remote sensing and sensor basic techniques and their application in the construction of 3D models. Basically, all the universities are implementing those techniques, but due to lack of the budget of the novel data acquisition methods, most of them are left behind. And we thought these topics will take a lot of interest by students. The explaining on the second day these thematic lessons will.
I think that problem has. Technical problem, the technical connection to Tirana has decided to be a challenge for us today. We are trying to reconnect to Ledi Moisiu again.
Hello?
To Tirana, to the University of Tirana, who was interrupted in her presentation of the DIM EASY project. She was going to tell us the program of this year's in October, and I think we lost you somewhere on the 21st of October of this year in the program. If you would connect there, continue there, please.
Okay, thank you again. Sorry for this inconvenience. During the presentation, I hope to go smoothly till on the end of my presentation. As I mentioned before, the project is prepared for workshops, and each one has different topics in different years. Because of the pandemic conditions, this year, in 2021, the workshop on innovation in exploration will be held in hybrid mode. Looking forward that the condition will be improved and we can, and the student or people or professionals can participate physically in this workshop. In October 2022, the topic for innovation will be project-oriented body characterization, and followed by a workshop in innovation in extraction, and ending up with innovation in our body. These are the main topics for the first workshop, for 3 days workshop, and topic on during the first day will be main challenges and needs in innovative mineral exploration and robotization. The topic in the second day will be related to remote sensing and sensor-based techniques and their application in the construction of 3D models, ending up with advanced geophysical data processing and geostatistical method on their innovative application for mineral exploration. During the first day, the workshop will be theoretical and integrated with the data acquisition and needs for robotization through the example of underwater exploration works. The first day will be focused in policy framework, general policy framework of EU for need of innovative methods in mineral exploration, followed by innovative solutions for challenges in underwater spaces, sensor development and robotization, which will be done in 3 hours. Professors by College University will be the trainers of this workshop. And on the end of the day, some case studies will be shown by the student, typically in exploration on flooded underground spaces. By UNEXIM and UNEXAP story will be shown to the students. UNEXIM project is a project founded by the Horizon 2020 program, developed an innovative robot-based technology prototype to survey underwater environments, mainly flooded mines. And this technology used non-contact methods for autonomous 3D mine mapping to gather valuable geological, mineralogical, and spatial information from underground flooded environment. This slide shows you some pictures taken during the elaboration of the data and of the process of robotization in flooded mine. During the second day, with the topics in remote sensing and sensor-based techniques, the professor will give some concept of 3D drone surveys. They will bring to students and professionals case studies, examples of biogeological, geotechnical, structural, mythological features, extraction from 3D models, and creation of a geologic structural model, application of portable spectral data acquisition equipment such as XRF and LIPS in on-site geochemical and mineralogical observation and assessment. Specific attention is dedicated to core analysis. For this purpose, the laboratory demo with some portable equipment will be brought to the class and to show the students how to perform this core analysis. Demonstration of remote sensing, data acquisition, and interpretation by drones will be one of the last topics on the second day of the workshop. Here are some pictures of outputs taken by drones and 3D mapping models. On the end of this workshop, advanced geological data processing and geostatistical methods will be explained to students, and inversion-based modeling for interpretation of gravity, magnetic, and geoelectric data sets. Near surface structure as input for soil mapping and mining application will be another topic for the student of the last day of workshop. These are some picture views from geophysical investigation by combining seismic, geoelectric, and direct pulse logic methods. On the end of the workshop, the attendees or participants will have deeper insight into an understanding of new policy framework on relevant mineral exploration. They will get general concept of innovative exploration technologies, the benefits of freedom model use for various engineering and scientific purposes, the workflow from planning, acquisition, the modeling of 3D drone survey, the outcome of novel survey methods, the needs, solution, and challenges of underwater mineral exploration tasks, application of advanced statistical methods, applicability of innovative geophysical exploration methods. This is the goals or topics that during this workshop will be students will be on the end of the workshop with the last knowledges on this matter. Registration for who is interested, and we only encourage all the students or professionals to be registered on the workshop. As I mentioned before, due to the COVID situation, the hybrid mode is available for this year, and the payment for online participation will be 100, and for physical participation up to 400 euros. The people coming by these countries are target group for participation on this workshop, and the workshop will be held in Dubrovnik, and via online platform will be able to each one that will follow the workshop in parallel way in online mode. For more info, you can, each one is encouraged to visit the web page of project, or for detailed information may contact through email by me that is written down on the slides. And on the end, thank you for your attention. Finally, for Romania, thank you that you choose Albania for this conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nevertheless, let's jump to the next speaker, and we will continue to be connected with Ledi Moisiu later when we have this panel discussion. The next speaker would be Agata Poczmańska, who is working as an education officer within EIT RawMaterials. She comes from Poland, and she would like to talk to us about the HEI, Higher Education Initiative, to raise the innovation capacity within our universities. Agata, please, the floor is yours now.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, you can share.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hey, so I think we may start. Thank you for sharing the presentation. Hello, everyone, one more time. Miriam. This is a great pleasure for me to be here today to attend such an important event. Thank you for the invitation. As Krzysztof Kubacki said this morning, EIT RawMaterials gives a lot of opportunities in the area of education. So we are supporting various levels and types of education. I can tell you more if you are interested during questions and answers session. But in this presentation, I will focus on one particular initiative, and I will introduce you briefly to the Higher Education Institutions Initiative, Capacity Building for Higher Education. So in short, we are calling this HEI initiative. If I may ask for the second slide. So I will start with the background of the initiative, including the organizations behind, and I will discuss why it was established. But I will also take you through implementation, structure, and funding available, and give you some examples on how it works in practice. Finally, I will show you how to get involved, meaning how to submit the proposal and how to implement your own projects. Next, please. So, HEY initiative is an action of EIT, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. EIT exists to drive innovation across Europe, mainly by integrating three types of partners: business, education, and research. And EIT has 9 knowledge and innovation communities that you can see here in the slide. Those are so-called KICs, knowledge and innovation communities. They exist as independent consortia, putting EIT mission in practice across priority areas, depending on which they are responsible for. If I may ask for the next one. To date, those communities have worked with university partners to create substantial impact, and it has taken place principally at the level of faculties, departments. So, for example, EIT RawMaterials is working with material science faculties or geology departments. Now, within Horizon Europe, the EIT wants to bring this expertise at the institutional level and involve whole universities. So to make it happen, HEY initiative has been developed, and it is implemented by those 9 communities, with EIT RawMaterials leading this whole project. And now, if I may ask for the next one, let's discuss why we are doing all of this. So first of all, universities have long been recognized as central in regional innovation ecosystems, both in terms of knowledge, let's say, production for competitiveness, but also as the actors which facilitate the regional interactions. So we want to empower universities, academic partners, through funding, but also expertise, to maximize their innovation potential. One of the crucial principles behind that is also knowledge sharing. We want universities to extend the best practices from innovation leaders to universities across Europe, across continent and other countries. But this is not absolutely not simply about the process of transferring innovation models. Definitely not, because one of our principles is also self-assessment. We consider your institutional knowledge specific for particular university as a key to identify most important opportunities that are specific for your institution. That is why we are starting proposal preparation from self-assessment. I will tell you more about this later on. Another principle that is important for us behind this initiative is knowledge triangle integration. This is central to EIT model, and we encourage you to bring together universities with companies and research institutions, because it maximizes innovation potential and results of our work in this initiative. So let's go further and let's discuss now how does it work in practice. So Hey initiative was launched earlier this year in March with the pilot call. That call was for proposals, and in this pilot call we have selected 23 projects. Each of them have been granted funding up to 1.2 million euro. And this money is to implement a range of interventions that should be implemented over a period of 24 months. But of course, with much longer lasting impact. What is important is the second call that is coming soon, and it will be launched later this year, most probably in 1-2 months. So I really encourage you to get involved, to build a consortium, to submit a proposal, or to join another consortium that is already built. In this second call, we envisage a comparable amount of funding. It's really interesting opportunity. Let's go further because I can show you some important numbers. So as on this slide, we received in the first call 64 applications, meaning there was huge competition. But to show you the scope of involvement, almost 750 different organizations were involved in those applications from 36 countries, which included over 300 higher education institutions. So you can imagine how involving it was, how big scope we reached. If we go to the next slide, you will see also this broad geographic reach, because we included countries which are defined according to, maybe you've heard about European Innovation Scoreboard. So this scoreboard defines some countries as modest and moderate innovators. Those countries are supported by EIT within Regional Innovation Scheme, and those risk countries are marked in orange in this slide. If we go further with the slides, we will focus on who can apply. This is extremely important to know if you are interested in applying in the second call that is coming soon. So during the first call, consortia had to be formed by minimum 1 KIC partner, university partner, minimum 2 non-KIC partner, universities, and minimum 1 non-academic actor, meaning company or NGO, for example. Furthermore, the universities must be based in different countries. And the purpose of this structure is to facilitate knowledge transfer across borders, across universities of different innovation capacity and different types of organizations. Let's go further, and then we will learn what is the first step when we are applying. So to apply, the applicants will use HE Innovate self-assessment tool to identify strengths and weaknesses in the areas of entrepreneurship and innovation. So if you are interested, I can tell you more about this within Q&A session, but now let's take a look on the second step. On the next slide, you will see that based on this assessment, self-assessment results, the consortia will analyze how to address the areas where there are opportunities for growth. And this should be described and reflected in so-called IVAP, Innovation Vision Action Plan. So this is the document when you describe how you are going to address the results, the issues that you identified at the stage of self-assessment. As part of the proposal and project planning, universities are required to articulate a vision for 2030 with a clear step-by-step action plan leading to lasting impact. And that is why we call this IVAP as a heart of both application and the project itself. Let's go further, because those are very important domains. IVAP is created by focusing on how the self-assessment results may fit into those 4 domains. For example, domain 2 is strengthening partnerships, which connects to how all sides of the knowledge triangle, remember knowledge triangle meaning education, business, and research, how to integrate all of them in the innovation actions of the university. Within these domains, applicants, the consortium, selects a total of 6 actions. For example, under domain 2, as I described a second ago, one of the possible actions is new collaborations, which could be about developing areas of collaboration with new or existing partners on other sides of the knowledge triangle. To the next slide. So once we have IVAP completed and proposal is selected, the projects themselves can begin. And but the question is how to build this project, what it might be about. So here you have some possible concrete aspects and topics that projects may address. So it might be about strengthening partnerships, it might be about business support services, it might be about entrepreneurial education. All of this is possible and available for you in this initiative. And let's go to the final slide, with which I would like to warmly encourage you to apply, to join or build a consortium. Firstly, you may check the website of the initiative, where you can find a lot of useful information. You can also always contact me if you have any questions or you wish to apply and you need support with, for instance, finding the partners. I will be happy to help. I will leave you my email address in the chat, and please feel free to contact me, whatever is needed.
Thank you very much, Agata, for this insight into what's going on from the innovation, from the higher education initiative. Now it's time to go back to Austria to connect to Bianca Sieberer, who works at the Montanuniversität here in Leoben in the MIRO, the Montanuniversität's International Relations Office, and she's going to talk to us about possible student, possible mobilities, cooperations. Bianca, the floor is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Hanno. I hope you can hear me. And
thank you very much. We hear nice.
You can see my screen, right?
But not in presentation mode, if that's what you want.
Ah, yeah. Super.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation to this event. My name is Bianca Sieberer. I'm the International Event and Project Coordinator at MIRO. MIRO stands for Montanuniversität International Relations Office, and I will give you a short outlook on mobility programs with Montanuniversität Leoben. First of all, I want to introduce you to our team. As I know, you already got to know Susanne Feiel, the head of our department, and also the head of RIC. She already spoke to you today. There's also Caroline Fuchs, our operational management, Anja Meyer, who is in charge of our welcome center and staff mobility, Sarah Hirzer, she's our Erasmus manager, Karina Michelini Rodriguez is in charge of our incoming students and events, Anja Zafer is the outgoing coordinator and in charge of social media channels, Lena Laknor and Benjamin Jichoha are our student assistants, they are our Miro support, and I am, as I said, an international event and project coordinator. And now you may ask yourself why I am here. The thing is that I coordinate the mobility programs in the EC region, and we thought it could be very interesting for you which possibilities there are to come to Montano Universität from Albania or to have an incoming and outgoing exchange. First of all, I want to go on with our Miro services. We offer support for exchange students who want to study abroad or who want to come to our university. With our Welcome Center, we offer special support to international regular students as well as international staff. We assist in the organization and handling of mobility programs for students, teachers, researchers, and staff of MUL. We strengthen the cooperations with partner institutions worldwide, and we accompany the development of joint master programs and supervise their participants. And this is just some of our services. I could go on in detail more, but that's not the thing we want to do today. As you can see on this map, we have partner institutions all around the world. We also have one partner institution in Uganda, but it's not on this map. I don't know why. I'm sorry for that. And as you see, most of our partner institutions are located in Europe because of the Erasmus program. This slide should just show you that we are an open-minded community here at Montano Universität Leoben. We support our students not only before their mobilities, but also during, and we are not only support for documents and applications and stuff like that, we also support them by planning events, arranging meetings, excursions, field trips, whatsoever. We really enjoy to work with our students. We want them to learn more about the Austrian culture, to make friends, to get connected with Austria, with Leoben especially, with our university. But now the thing why I am here. If you are interested in any student or staff mobility exchange with Montano Universität Leoben, we would offer you an info session on the 12th of October, where I will tell you more about Montano Universität Leoben, the city of Leoben, the region we are in. We're going to talk a bit about our joint study programs with international partners, because this could be something important or interesting for you and your higher education institution in Albania. I will also talk a little bit about how to become an international regular student on a master or PhD level. And the most important part, I think, is are our scholarships and mobility program possibilities with Albania right now, and the ones we could have in the future. And yeah, these are our official contacts. We are available on Facebook and Instagram. Here you can see our homepage, international.unileoben.ac.at. This telephone number is the number of our Welcome Center, Anja Meyer, but feel free to contact me. And I will tell my colleagues from RIC the time of our meeting, and I will send all the information to them. And if you are interested to come to our info session, I would be very happy to welcome you there. I will give you the information you need, you want. We can have a question and answer situation. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity to speak here. And I wish you a pleasant day and a pleasant conference. And thanks again. Danke, Hanno. The stage is yours again.
Not fully yet. I would like to ask you to remain a couple of minutes. There was one question coming in a little earlier, and I'm not sure whether you can answer it now or the 12th of October. What cooperations already exist between Austria and Albania?
Yeah, that's the thing. We do not yet have cooperations at the moment, and there is not yet the possibility to for Albanian students to come to Montana Universität Leoben. There's only the possibility for our students from MUL to go to Albania via Mulisa. That's a program from our university. But there could be possibilities for mobility. We can discuss that in detail because there would be, would have to apply for that. But that's the thing why we said it would be better to arrange this info session. We could talk about that in detail. It would take more time to speak about that. But at the moment, there are no specific cooperations.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
We now come to the final part of our conference, part where we would like to have a discussion going between some of us, and where we would like to answer your questions also. So if you have a question, please raise your hand or please type it into the chat. We will be able to include it into the discussion. The next part will be guided by Anna Meyer, whom many of you already know, and for those who don't know Anna so well yet, she also works here in Leoben in the research and in the Resources Innovation Center as a research and project manager, and she is in charge of organizing the ESEE Dialogue Conferences. Apart from that, she's currently working on her PhD thesis, analyzing sustainability and its communication in the raw materials sector for future generations. So Anna, welcome, and please guide us through the discussion now.
Hello, can you hear me well? Yes, that's fine. Yeah. Hello. Hello, good to see everybody and good to be here at the ECDC. It's always, it's a lot of work to put together a conference, but then in the end, when you are there, I was listening the whole day and I really liked it, how it all came together, and to see and get a focus of the country Albania, even though we couldn't be there. But I'm sure that now that we have heard from some speakers that it is an interesting country, that there's also many possibilities there, we're even more motivated to come and visit you one day. So now I would like to use the opportunity to guide you through some questions or to raise some points that we have heard today, and to ask some of the speakers for their viewpoint on some of them. So as you know, you can, even if you're an attendee now and cannot speak, you can raise your hand and we can transport you to the panel. Or you can type in your question as said before. So one question that I want to raise before that I don't know if has been answered yet is maybe very practical. It is, how can you register to the DIM ESEE? So can this be raised again? Maybe from the presenter, Miss Ledi Moisiu, can you? I see she's not on the panel. Okay, then we will send out this information to you in a follow-up sending, so that you all know and get the link.
Register online.
And how to you can register online. Then we will supply you with all the information on how to do this, to join this opportunity. Okay. Okay, good. One question that I would then pose, if there are no other questions in the room, is what are one question that we can put to the education area that we covered today is, what are other funding opportunities that universities can use apart from the HEY initiative? Agata, maybe you can give us more insight on that. What does EIT RawMaterials give us?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Anna. Yes, as I mentioned in my presentation, there are numerous of opportunities. One of them is the initiative I discussed. But another one that might be interesting for you, as for the universities, is the call, for example, that was just announced by EIT RawMaterials. And this call for proposals is called Kava 9. So I will put, of course, the link in the chat to give you access to the detailed information. However, the call is extremely interesting because this time we are focusing on 2 segments. So first of all, we are looking for lifelong learning programs. Those are courses for professionals. And we are looking for those courses in specific thematic areas. We are analyzing our portfolio. We are analyzing the projects that we have already on board. And in the second step, we are identifying the gaps. And this is why we are developed this call for proposals. We are looking for particular learning opportunities. So courses for professionals is one opportunity. Second area is summer or winter schools. And here we also looking for schools in very concrete thematic areas. And you can read about this in details in the website. However, what is important is the deadline for submission proposals. The first stage deadline is set on 19th of November. However, the proposal at this stage is really short and general, just 5 pages. Only those proposals which will be selected to the second stage will need to prepare the full proposal. So it's really worth trying. So yes, and regarding this, I would like to also encourage you to participate in brokerage event, because for those who are interested or are hesitating about participation, we prepared the brokerage event, and it will take place on 13th of October. So if you are interested, please register, and it might be really interesting event for you to learn more about the call.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I can kind of point the question towards our Albanian participants, and also I have to say collaborators in organizing this conference, Ms. Ledi, Moser and Edmond, who have helped us tremendously putting all those speakers and this agenda together. And I would ask you too now, do you see from what you have heard today and what you have heard just yet, do you see an instant step into EIT RawMaterials? So can you connect this? Is this an opportunity that you can follow up on?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you, all of the organizers, for inviting me in this panel and in this conference. As Professor Moisiu said, when we started discussing to organize this conference a long time ago, we had some ideas, but now the idea is becoming a reality, and we have a lot of things to say. So I want to thank you again, not only because you brought a lot of new information and valuable information, but also because you put it in focus Albania, what is very important for us. As all speakers say, the raw material sector is very important and large for the economy, but as a professor in Faculty of Geology and Mine, I got this meeting excellent and with many ideas for the futures. In my view, I see many possibilities for cooperation, but I can underline some of them. And the first of them is the higher education initiative presented by Ms. Poczmańska. It's very important, and we'll try to be part of this initiative in the future. Thank you for bringing this information. And the second one, which is very connected with your university, is the mobility program with the Mountain University level. We don't have any cooperation so far, but this conference, let be the first point, and let's see in the future how we can develop our cooperation. I'm sure that we can find some very good point of cooperation in the future. Coming to the learning technology, I found very interesting the MireBooks. So I hope we'll introduce this learning technology in our students, in our faculty in the future. So I'll contact in details later on for this field. Another interesting point, because of my narrow specialty, was using drones of mine. Being a mine surveyor as an engineer, it's my field and I found this very interesting. So we'll see the possibility to contact with the GeoConsult and to see how we can work together on this field. Smart mine and technology presented by Mr. Diego Laza also was very interesting for us. I see a very interesting point in the future. Before is entrepreneurship, start up the business. So
we have a few connection problems. Maybe if you stop your video. We cannot hear you anymore, sadly.
Future, but
now it's better.
Hello?
Yes, yes, you're back. Please continue.
Do you hear me?
I hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So this is what I wanted to say. So first, again, I will thank you very much for organizing this conference, and I hope this will be the first, but not the last. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Actually, you answered a few of my questions. I was also gonna focus on internalization and some other aspects you raised, but it's very interesting for us that it's very good for us that we can bring different levels of opportunities to the Balkan region, to the ESEE Dialogue, through the ESEE Dialogue Conference to this ESEE region, so that we are actually offering you a kind of a broad range of activities, as also Mr. Kubacki said in the morning. So there are different possibilities. There are in education, there are in acceleration, and there are innovation projects, and much more, of course. So we have tried to give you a snapshot of all the fields where we are active, or of many fields we are active. And we hope that with those seeds that we have thrown out there today, we can be successful together in the future. One more thing that I would like to raise and to ask Mr. Goskolli about, because he was presenting us the potential of mineral resources in Albania, in the region, is what potential he sees in EIT RawMaterials. So what next steps do you see from what you have heard today, which I admit was a lot? Mr. Goskolli, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much. So, first of all, I would like to thank all the guys and the guests who made the different presentation, and I think that everything presented during the conference is important for not only for the students, but for the mining activity in Albania, because we have a lot of problems that we need to cooperate with your university in different issues. So, as my colleague Mr. Hoja mentioned about the presentation of the Minister for the surveying mine, is very important for us, not for the mining activity or mine inactivity, but even for the mines under the closing process. You know very well that this, let's say, 20 or 30 years, everywhere in Europe, we have a lot of different mines which are under the closure process. For this, we need to cooperate with different universities, with Montana Open University as well, and then with the other also. So I think that we will profit to have some different cooperation with different universities and different schools to profit all the best experience for the mining activity in all directions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. It's an important issue that you raised, the topic of mine closure or of post-mining, and we are also active in that field. So we have had a project that is running out this year within the EIT RawMaterials, which was a RIS project for Ledi RIS, and we are looking at follow-up opportunities, and we will continue doing research on this, also very important topic. So it's another field that we didn't fit into this agenda, but we are of course very open to discuss in the future. Okay, then I would once again ask if there are any other questions from the participants, if we have any raised hands and typed in questions.
May I have something to speak something towards
yes.
on the end of this day? Firstly of all, as Professor Hoja mentioned, I would like to thank you all the team for organizing this wonderful conference and all the works behind this day. I found it all presentation very interesting. Presentation coming by professionals, by private companies working in the mining sector and innovation in the mining sector, and the presentation coming by education, and especially the presentation of Mr. Agata and Bianca, Mrs. Agata and Bianca, that again presents the possibilities that universities has on innovation in education. Albania already has some good experiences, not good, but excellent experiences with EIT RawMaterials. Some institution by Albania has been partnered in some project founded by EIT Material. But unfortunately, Albania and Bosnia and Herzegovina are not anymore eligible country to participate as in 2021-2024 program of KABA funds. This is not for the fault of professionals, of raw material professionals, but it came due to some bureaucratic administrative contracts, I don't know, that left us out of this program. And this fact brought to all scientific community a very negative impact, and brought a big concern, since we probably may lose all the cooperation relation or created step by step during last years. And we should stand by till on the new that Albania could be again eligible country. My question goes to the EIT representative, but I'm afraid that I'm not right now. My question is, there are other different options for EIT RawMaterials to offer those countries that are not eligible to participate on the current program, and other opportunities, because Albania, as mentioned, is not anymore eligible to participate in EIT RawMaterials, in new KABA 9 codes. This fact this way. But to find some other alternatives that countries like Albania or Bosnia and Herzegovina to stay on board with other colleagues that already we know, or we have been part of different consortiums on raw materials. The second is not a question, but this comment is inspiring listening to the presentation coming back geo-consulting and about companies that brought here their very professional experience in innovation methodology and in mining sector, in exploration and extraction of minerals. Maybe that those companies create some possibilities to offer to the students to help and support us in preparation of diploma or their degree near those companies in online method or some exchanges, some short visits, and to provide some their own data to the students in preparation of some diploma for all master students, because it's very helpful for the students to be in touch with such kind of companies that are on the top of the innovation and mining. This is not this opportunities doesn't need for signing understanding of memorandum of understanding, but
that's true. That's very straightforward.
That's all I have for the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's a very good point you raised. It's that it doesn't need lots of preparation to have an exchange between students and startups. I guess it will be highly motivating, and I hope that we can establish cooperations with this, because it gives the innovation room for the people who are just maybe finishing their studies or are in their studies, and it also already gives them the future of this field and how the sector is developing. And I think that might be a very good exchange that we can try to foster and put together. The other question raised, are there other funding opportunities? I'm sure there are. I mean, I don't know, Agata, do you want to answer the question from the side of EIT RawMaterials? Because it's not that the non-risk people can, also people not from non-risk cannot apply, so that it is not an exclusive. Maybe this is a miscommunication that has happened. It is not that Albania is totally excluded from the Carver call. It is just that one segment of the Carver call, which is the risk segment. This is the part where you don't have the status of being a risk country. Like, for example, Austria is also not a risk country, but of other reasons. So there is still the education call open, but maybe Agata, you are more the expert than me on this.
Yeah, exactly, Anna. You are right. Albania is not eligible for risk segment because it's not a risk country anymore for the next few years at least. However, you may apply in any other segments of this call. Feel free to.
Thank you. So this would be the education call and the upscaling call. Mm-hmm. So this is possible still. So what has been presented by Agata earlier on summer schools and on lifelong learning is still applies to you. But we are open to discuss this in future in bilateral meetings to see, just to find the right opportunities for you.
Thank you, Agata. Thank you, Anna.
We have one more question in the room that is now going to be asked. Sorry. Mimi, please.
Hi, everybody.
Ah, wonderful. You're here. We can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you for bringing me on stage. I really enjoyed the conference, and I'm happy to be part of it. I really, as an alumni of Montan University and also the Faculty of Geology and Mines in Albania, I'm very interested, and I have been all the time, to know about the future cooperations or the possibilities that students from Albania can have. And that was my question from the mood side. You know, what do you think, you as being part of this platform now, the RIC, what do you see as the biggest challenge or the biggest hurdle right now that doesn't help us to make possible this exchange of students or the cooperation and further on in terms of higher education or research? and development programs. So what do you see as the biggest challenge? Why is that not possible right now? Why could be a big hurdle in the future?
Let's see. I think what came to my mind as an easy answer would be maybe that everything would be easier if we would have more EU enlargement, because it would arrange for people to have more freedom to move, have more freedom for exchange. It would make it easier on the individual side of people. I mean, also of course on the side of policy. But when we look at exchange, I think it would help students a lot. But I think we cannot wait for this to happen. So we have to get more active and establish projects. And what we have learned in the past years that we have done the EC conference is that often we do a conference in a country, or we focus on one country. We get to know a few people that help us to do the conference sometimes, or during the course of the conference. And then with those, we set very specific projects. And we get to know a bit of the ecosystem at the university there. They get to know a bit of us. And then it gets much easier to set up multiple corporations that in the very beginning, we didn't really think of. So we first have one project that we develop together that might not have to do with student exchange, but then as the institutions get to know each other, not themselves, I hope they know themselves, as they get to know each other better, we see that much more is possible, so that we jump from one project that we do together to others. And I hope that here with the ECDC we can do this process again. We've had that very strongly with Croatia and Slovenia, that have joined the first conferences, and from then on have also created their own hub, the ARIA hub now, that they do in the EIT RawMaterials, which is now very independent, very active, and a really good player in the ecosystem. So I think taking a step further, we look at another country, and as today we try to show the participants there are things to follow up on. So there is work to do. So I don't think we'll be bored, and I hope we can make it easier for the exchange to happen. So I hope it answered a bit your question. Okay, any more questions? No, technical side tells me no. Wait a few minutes for hesitant ones. If not, then I would take the liberty and have the pleasure of wrapping up this conference for you. It's been a long day, and sometimes we might lose track of all the things that have happened. So I would like to present in a nutshell all the opportunities, all the things that have had the stage today. So we started off, or maybe before even starting off, I would like to thank once again our collaborators from Albania, and also the collaborators that I have in the room here that you cannot see, that helped tremendously to make this conference happen, and without them it wouldn't have been possible. But it was possible. Now you can see them a bit. Here they are. And now it is possible, and we're here doing our 13th East and Southeast Dialogue Conference. And today in the morning we started off in this room with a welcome by our Vice Rector Peter Moser, who has opened many conferences and who has told you a warm welcome from our university. And then we have focused, or we have given the floor to Mr. Kubacki, who has opened all the possibilities that EIT RawMaterials offers, showing you a broad range of opportunities. Then in the Menti tool, we learned a little bit about the participants of the conference, and many said from their expectations, they want to make new connections, they want to see what's possible, and I hope that we did this during the course of the day. And we also saw through the Menti that many people said that, okay, looking at the raw materials sector in Albania, we see a lot of potential. This was being really mentioned a lot of times. And we still need opportunities to actually leverage this potential. And in the course of the day, we saw what they are. Then Ms. Feiel, head of RIC Leoben, presented this office with all its agendas and with all it wants to do. RIC Leoben is the home of many networks and opportunities for resource innovation, and as you know now has a long history of working with stakeholders in the EC region. Then Mrs. Laknor briefly summarized for us what she thinks is necessary to maximize the potential of the raw materials sector. And she mentioned a few things like good climate for investment, good governmental practices, an increase of activity against corruption, more infrastructure, and also she wanted to promote, she was said that it was very important to promote research and development. But she also mentioned the human resources, something that also Ms. Feiel mentioned that we need to work on. And I think that also came up later in the presentations when we were focusing on, on the DIM-ESEE, which is one possibility of investing more into human resources, looking at lifelong learning. Then Mr. Goskolli took us to the country Albania. We saw the maps. This is one way of getting closer to the conference, not to the conference, but to the country. And we saw the deposits of chromium, copper, and nickel inside Albania. And then Mr. Politis took a different approach, took out one segment that EIT RawMaterials offers, which is the one for startups and SMEs, and took us on the journey of what happens when first you have the idea, and then you get different programs and you are helped with coaching and investment to actually follow up on this idea and make value out of it. Then we had two examples of how this could really happen to make this a bit more tangible for you. So we saw with Mr. Laza, we saw how you can track activities in a mine and how you can use that data to actually ameliorate the services or ameliorate how a mine is working with the near real-time pictures that we saw. And I want to quote this because I thought this was really nice for people who are maybe thinking about applying to one of those programs. He says, he suggests to apply because it is a big help. Then Mr. Oberrauner took us to the underground mines and showed us that 360 view of their business case and selling their services in order to get this image, to get this 360-degree view through underground drones. Then we jumped back to our pre-event and also jumped back chronologically what happens before you are successful with the startup, what happens at the beginning when you just have your idea. And we heard some voices from the pre-event yesterday, from the workshop, telling us that we should kind of develop an empathy for the customer in order to provide a good service to them in order to help solve their problems. And I thought this is a very interesting way of looking at it. And I'm happy that the workshop was received so well. And then Mr. Ortega told us that we should also have empathy with the students and we should give them very good study material that keeps them motivated. And with the mixed reality MireBooks project, he showed us the future of learning that is actually just about to happen and it's already happening. And yes, as we've seen, this has generated some interest and I hope there will be some follow-ups. And then coming towards the end of the conference, we heard more about lifelong learning from the DIM-ESEE project. We saw another opportunity from Ms. Poczmańska, the HR initiative, which I also urge you to look into and also look into this HR initiative tool. And lastly, we are here, we presented the possibilities of internationalization, with Montana University Open. So this has been a very long day full of interesting topics and insights. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I gladly hope that I can welcome you at the next conference. And I wish you a very nice rest of the day. Bye.